Hello and welcome to The Late Shift. My name is Val.
I'm Jonah.
I am Saul.
I am Jay.
And we're joined here today to celebrate that we've been doing this for 2 whole months. Today is the 3rd of June, which means one thing. It's finally summer, it's hot, and I hate it. And I've got a plan for us to start getting into our segments nice and quick. And if you try to derail me, I will scream, I will screech, I will sweat. It will sound bad.
You can hear the sweating?
You can. Okay. You can when I do it.
Sweats aggressively on you.
It's the sound of each droplet hitting the...
Chinese water torture, just kidding. Pounding over you, sweating on you.
Oh god, that'd be rank.
How's your week's been? Has it been good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good.
I flossed regularly.
That's good.
Nice.
I mean,
Such
such
a
an
privileged
open-ended
life,
question.
Well, I mean, it's just the fact that I don't
That is the point.
Yeah.
I mean, especially seeing as we don't really like to disclose too much of our personal lives on this podcast, so it's like, how was your week? Like, other than, yeah, it was good.
My week was vague.
And unassuming.
I got up to, this and that, and a couple of other things in between.
In some set locations that are places.
I mean, we linked the fact that we're uploading this from London, so the location's pretty obvious.
And now we're going to throw him off because we're not in London.
We're going to upload it from Leeds, and they'll be like, the hunt continues.
But no, to be fair, we can give away as much as we like about where we are now and what I do, because in a week's time I don't live here, so...
So how was your week then, Jonah?
We're visiting Jonah in prison.
Yeah, I'm getting out.
I'm so grateful the guards let us record a podcast in the what's it called, the
Visitor.
Visitation.
No, that's why the next one.
Congenial right room.
That's why the next podcast.
Conjugal, not
Conjugal, that's it.
Congenial is just the well-mannered room.
Yeah. Hello. I feel very well adjusted today and ready to re-enter society. Great. Me too.
How positively congenial.
I think for the next one we should just get a big plastic, thick plastic glass, just to put it in front of Jonah, just to make it more realistic.
Oh, with holes in it.
Yeah, but the lawyers say really it could be anywhere from 2 years extension.
Well, yeah. So next time I'm not here, the excuse will be is my breakout attempt didn't work.
But why would you break out if you're getting out?
I
No,
don't
I'm just
know.
going to say you got stabbed.
So, I'm getting out. I didn't say my sentence was up. I said I'm getting out.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh.
You'd be a bad prison guard. You've just assumed.
Oh no!
I'm
speaking
speaking to the inmates, and they're saying,
"When you're getting out soon," he says ominously with his little rock camera, and you're like,
"Congratulations!"
I think when you in for life,
I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah.
I like the idea that
Right
I could maybe walk up to someone and go like, my sentence is up, and it's like, right you are, off you go.
Yeah. Oh really?
Here's my keys.
Yeah. You just.
How many people do you reckon have actually tried that though? What if that's that legal loophole? You're like, if you just convince the guard that your time is up and he lets you go.
If only D&D were real life.
I mean, technically, there's always human error in anything to do with humans. So I bet you someone has probably bullshitted their way out of prison.
Yeah.
But that being said, I feel like a lot of guards would be the kind of thing where you're just walking up towards them. They're like, "Inmate, why are you not in your cell? I don't belong here." They just start beating you.
But isn't representing yourself in court technically bullshitting your way out of prison?
No, because it bullshits you right into prison. Like 99% of the time, where they're like, "I wish to represent myself." And
I didn't say it was a majority of people.
The judge just etches the word guilty into the paper so hard that it goes through all the other sheets to the end. He's like, you're representing yourself, are you?
Like, damn it, Very Vague Boy. Why have you done it to us? Right, so I don't think it's been 10 minutes, 20 or 30.
Quick,
Therefore,
talk more.
We did manage to derail you once about prison.
That's
No,
good.
to
That's
be fair, Val
real
started off
important
prison.
content.
She just diverted us organically. She's learning.
Yeah. To protect the identity of my house, which is not my house in a week's time.
I feel like my
It's another person's house, though.
like my thoughts are my
never really my home.
We're nomad.
So what happened today?
You're going to turn into one of those people who's going to post on Instagram, #TakeMeBack.
I don't think I'm cut out for
My
that.
heart in
prison?
my backpack.
Prison?
No, she means backpacker.
Right, sorry, I thought you were still talking about prison, take me back, I want to go home.
She's just posing with my next victim.
Institutionalized. Little emojis of that old man from Shawshank Redemption hanging from the roof when he can't adjust to society.
Oh, I know. I forgot his name. Brooks, yeah.
Brooks.
Red is more
Why'd
than
you
freedom.
do that? We haven't even started our podcast. I already feel shit.
Brooks died.
That's the late shift.
Spoilers for the Shawshank Redemption there.
I was going to say that's a late shift guarantee. We feel used and feeling like shit.
Yeah, but by the end, though, like, to hit it this early, people are going to stop listening now.
You know, that's
we
the
can tell you
creepypasta
what
section.
but we like.
I hope your rope knotting classes have paid off and you're
What?
able to
Actually-
fully engage with this podcast.
Well, actually, no, I was a Boy Scout, I should know.
Which is the best one to tug round your dinky?
Oh, no, the leaders would never teach us that one. That's their special knot.
Oh,
But the thing is, I was a Cub Scout. I was a Cub Scout too. And the thing is, it's gone to the stage.
I was a Boy Scout, so.
I was a scout. I got to scout.
You must
Oh,
have
Boy
well
Scout.
out of place.
Yeah, Boy Scout. No, but
He's a man scout.
I wasn't a leader, however. But what got me was the fact that, like, years later, I got to a point where I had to tie some knots, and it was
Was it shoelaces?
No, and the only one
You
that
never learnt that one.
no, that would have been really useful. I should have just done that one because the only other knot I remembered was a noose. So basically, there's a section of a building that I know of which is held to some tarpaulin is held together by a series of just. Wait, what's the plural for noose? Nooses.
It's not going to be niece.
Why not? It's just held together by knees.
What, the whole Italian city just wrangling it.
I thought you were going for relatives there, to be honest. No.
Yeah.
So somewhere up there, there's a building that's tied together by nooses.
I bet you the person who next sees that's going to be like, well, I know what was going through the last builder's mind when he was making this tarpaulin, getting it just noose.
It's still in all fairness, right?
Has it held up?
Yeah, it's been years. Like,
Why has there been a tarp there for years?
I wonder what the most efficient. I think the noose is pretty good. I mean, you can
Water leakage.
think how long you can like the noose doesn't break, the body does. You know, when you just leave it in a tree.
Yeah,
Is that
Like,
your
the noose
advertising campaign
stays
for
there.
noose?
It's a good knot.
it's a really good knot.
Yeah, how many? Think about it. How many? Like, say you did like a black knot, wrap it around someone's neck, sling them over a tree. You know, they're up there.
A
Would
what
you
knot?
trust like the black knot? You know, where you tie it.
Oh, granny knot, yeah.
I thought it was
Such an
called.
interesting podcast we
I
have.
thought it was called a black knot because it was like the
Knots.
devil's knot. It just is how to ruin stuff.
I
But anyway, you say you did that, or like, I don't know, like a slip knot or something. I wouldn't trust it, but a good old noose, that's going to keep that body there to warn your enemies until the body is bones and like slips out like human slurry. The noose stays. The noose stays.
I honestly, for a foolish second, thought James was going for some general purpose argument, not medieval functionality.
I mean, most of the time you ask James about the effectiveness of something, he's going to try and bring it back to...
If I
How
were
would
the
this
King of
serve
England...
me? Yeah, exactly.
The way that you were arguing, it was sounding more like you're in a retirement home, and they're like, "Now, come on, Mr. James. You know, you can't have that. The noose stays. You can take everything, but the noose stays." It's a reminder.
It's not like I can get out of my chair to use it anymore. I left it too late.
Lower it, and I'll just wheel into it and just like keep wheeling until it like goes taut.
But it's time for Today in History. And today I've got 4 stories for you guys because I've realised that they keep dragging out, they keep getting us stuck in the mud, and Today in History does not need to be this long.
So today, the Somme.
I like it.
So my first story for you today is about a gentleman called Jonathan Martin. Would you like to make a quick guess what he might have been famous for?
Professional wrestler, first one to come out in this really skimpy pants, and all the other wrestlers were like, wow, that's a statement.
You mean Speedos?
Those little Speedos, you know, and he came out and then for the first time, everyone else was wearing pantaloons,
Do you think they fit?
bow ties.
Do you think
Like,
they
my
fit
God,
silly?
man!
Yeah, there must have been a stage where
But there's just the first guy to be like, I'm just going to rock a pair of neon Speedos and nothing else, and everyone just be like, okay, if that's what you're here for, fair enough.
So what do you think he was famous for? Is it killing that particular bird that's making a shitload of noise in the background?
Or that one. No.
Now you've angered him. Now his mum's
Well, evidently not, Val. If he was famous for killing that bird, like, he would have failed. The bird's there.
The bird killed
What
him.
a weird...
I reject your level 1 DM's trap.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think I was being sincere about being the first wrestler to wear Speedos? No, have a guess.
It's not like we don't have enough kooky guesses in this show.
Yeah. Guess really seriously, make it really morbid.
His
He
name's-
was the inventor of the coffin.
Fab. You're both wrong.
Surprisingly.
Surprisingly enough.
He came
He
out
wore Speedos
wearing a
and built
coffin.
coffins.
how can you wrestle what you can't get into? Closes himself in the coffin.
No, it's what you can't get out of, John. Oh.
That would be the most boring wrestling match. Just a coffin and this other wrestler looking really confused, being like, do I pry him out? How do we do this? I mean, he's just in there. I don't watch wrestling.
You just turn that coffin into an Iron Maiden. You just start nailing nails
The
through.
thing about Iron Maidens didn't exist in the medieval era. Complete falsehood. They were
Funnily
made
enough,
up.
the thing that kills you straight away, pretty much.
They were made up by in the 18th century to be like a kind of like garish like shop. They did tortures of old, but they're completely fabricated. They weren't, the rack. That was one. They were fond of the rack and the burnings.
And the testicle grabber thingy.
Yeah, and the kind of thing you would put up a person's
Speaking from experience?
back passage that would then open like an egg, and you would pull it out and take most of the colon with it.
Yeah.
But they didn't have Iron Maidens, so
It does make me worried that a lot of these like kitchen gadgets that have been coming out
are
are
just
looking.
repurposed medieval torture devices.
Yeah,
Lemon
like the banana
baller, don't you mean the
slices.
eye
They're a bit- They should not. I mean, I know the banana can't help but be shaped phallically, and this tool helps you stop it from looking phallic because you're cutting into slices. But it's just the shape. I feel like if I was a man, the shape of that banana slicer is too enticing to not put my dick in. And just
blades.
see if it
Blades.
fits.
You know what? That's the thing I've always found as a man, is that I'm attracted to things that could cut me, like on my genitals.
Nothing like a dangerous wank.
Like I see one of those apple slices and I just grab it and I just write down, like
But the thing
core
is,
myself.
Your logic of having something that is a hole that you can put your penis in, surely that still works for women for something that you can put into yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh look, the head of a flamethrower.
I don't know if you've seen this, but basically, Voucher, the online voucher distributor that sells things cheaper, like offers you days out, but also sells products, were contractually obligated to advertise this banana holder. And the banana holder was not just phallic, but it was also like...
Banana shape.
This thing also had like skin-like texture to it, so it had like ridges on it. So it just looked like a dick. And
What colour was it?
I think it came in a variety of different colours. So you
If
could
it
mix
was
it
yellow,
up.
I'm just thinking Minion dick.
Not Simpsons dick.
No, Minions have taken yellow and ruined it for everyone.
And the posts by the Voucher's marketing team went viral because of the fact that they were like kind of being very tongue-in-cheek about the fact that it definitely looks like it's a dick. It was really funny. I really recommend reading it if you've got a moment.
Or checking out Voucher, who are not sponsoring us, but maybe this will make them sponsor
Take
us.
anything we can get.
I'd love to be sponsored by Voucher. They've got a variety of different like things.
We're
that they
now
offer.
giving them free stuff. Let's not.
The-
Other brands are available. BBC'd it. Now we can say what
Yeah.
we want. There we go.
I was going to say, don't forget that in the previous podcast we also bigged up Subway.
Our fans like, now you can go on Welch.com and get a voucher for a Subway. Now you can get 2 cookies at the end.
I'm just sad
Both
we're not getting
equally
sponsored by.
unsatisfying.
We're not getting sponsored by Best Fiends because it's like I couldn't. There was a point. There was a month when I couldn't find a single YouTuber that I watched that wasn't sponsored by them. Do they make DIY videos? Do they make makeup stuff?
Sorry, who?
Do they?
Who and what?
Best Fiends. It was an app game where it was kind of like Candy Crush, and it had like little monsters and things. It's like for a full month, it's like every single person I watched was being sponsored by them.
Did it work?
I don't know. I didn't
I've
want
never heard
No,
of it.
Val, did you
so-
buy it? That's
No,
the
no, I
thing.
didn't,
Well,
no.
it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd
you
much
won't,
rather
in
get
general.
They
sponsored by
sponsored
Microsoft.
Tanemon Mojo, Nerdist. So like two completely different Nerdwriter. Sorry. So 2 completely different channels. Tana
Think
Mojo.
think about it logically. Of course they did. That's putting out feelers. You see which demographic is responding best to your product, and then you switch from the ones that are not working to the people that are.
Yeah, of course.
That's called smart marketing. It's like putting billboards up or learning your target audience.
No, I'm just saying when it comes to brand oversaturation, that's what I experienced with that. So I'm happy to talk about Voucher because I haven't heard about it in ages.
Also, may I add full disclaimer: we are not at all affiliated with Voucher. I'm sorry for dragging your good name through the mud.
No one thought that we were.
Maybe, but no, you know how people get with the idea that you could be trying to make money on YouTube
On
for
our
ad
6th
revenue.
video?
No, but you know what people are like. It's like, did you play this game? Yeah. It was too bought and paid for. You corporate whore. But it's just like at the end of the day, like they just.
It's a well-paid profession being a corporate horse. So.
Yeah, it is. Just look at Wolf of Wall Street. That's what I learned.
I'm excited to be a corporate hall for Squarespace.
They've got enough. like corporate whores. If you look at how much ad they had back in the day, like, again, it's the same thing. Like every YouTube you watch, like, Squarespace. Okay.
Well, no, we
Loot
should be.
box.
We should.
Loot box.
Guys, no.
Yeah, loot
guys, no.
box.
This is completely wrong. We should advertise Ty Lopez. We should have advertised Ty Lopez because he makes ads for YouTube. That's how his whole career started, and I think we should advertise him. I hope.
Is that
he's
the
our
guy
sponsor.
who's like Lamborghini?
Yeah, Lamborghini. That's it.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on to
Can't
something.
wait.
something-
What
Okay.
did this guy actually do?
Jonathan Martin set fire to a very important historical building in the north of England, which is the Church of St. Peter in York. And the reason we're talking about him today is because he died on this day in 1838. So you would think from the act, Jonathan might have been somebody who hated the church or the idea of God.
I'm sensing the twist.
But the twist is that he did not. He hated the clergy, and for those reasons he tried to set fire to the church by stacking Bibles and things like this. But this was only the pinnacle of his actions. So let's talk about where he started with this. So
Only
he
the
did-
pinnacle.
Let's backtrack.
There are
Let's
more
backtrack.
less exciting chapters in this man's life.
And
Let's get boring.
Yeah.
it's only the pinnacle that he failed in what he set out to do.
Yeah.
Do you feel like like even you think there's a lot of flammable material in the church?
Yeah.
Not that I'm advocating
Cardinals.
nonsense, but
For a second, I was
full
thinking.
of booze.
For a second, I was thinking.
Also,
Okay,
hats on fire.
why do we still know this guy that failed to do what he planned to do? But then I was like, oh,
That's all.
Guy Fawkes. I was like, yeah.
We love these.
Napoleon!
Hitler?
Oh,
Oh, why'd you go there, Val? Why'd you go
I mean,
there?
he felt-
Napoleon's the safe European conqueror to go for.
Maybe like one of the
It's like
Russian
top trumps.
czars.
Yeah.
it's like top trumps. You had the Napoleon card. You had the Hitler card.
Bam! Hitler! Controversy score of 10. There's actually an expression for amount of time before a conversation goes straight back to Hitler.
It's called a something law.
Yeah.
Godfrey's law.
Godfrey's
Godfrey's
law,
law
however long a
is essentially the
Speaking of God,
that segue.
so speaking of God, Jonathan Martin
It's like going weeding
began
with
his
dynamite.
career.
I do like that. Oh, a dandelion.
So Jonathan Martin began his career in the Navy.
Church burning.
Oh, right, sorry.
He began it in the Navy, where he served for 6 years, and that's where he developed his faith to its full form. He grew up in a family of 12, so he needed to believe in God, thinking if he was ever to think that he was going to survive the adverse conditions that he found himself in at the time. So
And the lack of fire. He hated water. That's why
He was in
he
the
started
Navy.
hating water by the end of it. He was
Do you
like,
reckon-
"I'll spread fire."
It was because obviously the Navy back in the day petrified of fire because wooden
Yeah.
ships full of gunpowder, please don't burn anything apart from like the fuses and the candles. Do you reckon it was just like 6 years of self-denial of fire?
Yeah.
And this was just like, I want to binge on some fire.
Yeah, it's like going I imagine going off to like being a hermit and doing a vow of silence, and then finally getting to speak again.
And just singing your way down the street.
Yeah, and then just saying, Allosaurus.
Now you've spread the contagion to 2 podcasts. Now I'll admit that I'm patient zero of Allosaurus. I'll admit that. Right? I brought it into our podcast, but well done. You just spread it like it was quarantined in episode 5, and now it's spread to episode. Before
But
you know-
James, it's a good disease because it only hurts you.
it does. It really does.
speaking of disease, those ships, eh?
Filled with them and
with them.
Allosauruses.
So having come back from his 6 years of service in the Navy, Jonathan Martin decided that he was going to
Burn a
follow his
church.
passion for God and become a preacher. And he became a Wesleyan preacher in 1814, and from then on began throwing mad shade at the Church of England, describing the clergy as vipers from hell. For these attacks, Martin was hauled before magistrates on several occasions for disrupting church services, because he would literally run in and be like, "You shit!" In 1817, after threatening to shoot the Bishop of Oxford, he was arrested and committed to a lunatic asylum from where he twice escaped. Believing that all prayer should come from the heart rather than recited from formal liturgy, Martin considered he had a personal mission to expose what he saw as the corrupt state of the established church. Basically, he didn't like that they had their lyrics written out, whereas he had to improvise. So in 1829...
It was a freestyling type. I can't believe I said
In 1829, he went to York Minster for evensong and hid until the great doors were closed, then used hymn books, cushions and curtains to start a fire. He escaped by climbing down a bell rope from the tower. So he went full Mission Impossible. He was like,
Why would you?
Well, I don't think Tom Cruise ever climbed down a bell rope in Mission
Also,
Impossible.
I feel like why
He didn't like tie it around his chest and then slowly lower himself.
Also,
You don't know that.
Also, I feel
Oh,
like
yeah, we would,
arsonists-
Valley, because it'd be in the film.
Why can't arsonists learn good planning? If you're going to burn down a building, start with the furthest away points from the exit
Yeah,
start your fire and
that's
work your way back so you always have a way out. Don't burn around until you're like, oh, I've only got to climb down a bell tower to escape now, you silly fool.
That's what
Also,
I
it's
find
good-
so strange. Why wouldn't you just like leave a door open for yourself that you could just close behind? I mean, like, actually, the great doors were locked. That's what the story said. They were already locked. So he basically did the I spent a night in IKEA challenge, but like back in 1819.
Is that a
And
thing?
burned it down. Are you telling me there are people out there doing the spend a night in IKEA
I'm sure if
plus
you-
burn it down?
I'm sure if you give the
Also-
Paul brothers enough time, they would get to it.
Whereabouts was this church? Because the thing is, like, is
York.
it just me that was thinking? Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just trying to think how far away it might be from other buildings. Because what you could do essentially,
No,
surely you
York
could just.
Minster's in the middle of the city.
Okay, because I was just thinking, oh, right, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, because I was thinking, if you just smash the window, like,
Yeah.
you're burning it down anyway.
Yeah, I
Who
guess
gives
so.
a shit if you're gonna? I know it's like.
But he was quite religious. It's not like he disagreed with the clergy, not God. as
You don't
like
wanna make a
the-
window,
How many
but
clergy was he
burning
burning?
it down.
Yeah, I suppose so.
No, he didn't agree with the written liturgy, so he was burning the books.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying
true.
is, you know,
Maybe that was his reasoning. He was obviously arrested, and at the trial, he said, "It vexed me to hear them singing their prayers and amens. I knew that it didn't come from the heart. It was deceiving the people." So when the fire broke out, and he's been saying all this stuff, nobody was like scratching their head and being like, "Who could have done this? Who could it possibly have been to burn down the church?" And Martin made it even easier for them by leaving a paper trail, because he sent them...
Which didn't catch fire.
No, because they were at the clergy's house. So he sent them all letters signed with JM and giving his address in the letter.
What a polite and convenient
He's just...
man.
arsonists, arsonists
just
just aren't,
not-
aren't that polite anymore. They just put burning kerosene through your letterbox now,
No, but
willy-nilly.
he clearly didn't understand the idea of being anonymous. I think he thought, if I just give them my initials, they'll never be able to track me down. He didn't think, maybe I shouldn't put my address
Maybe
on
he
the back of the
want
letter.
to not get caught, Val. This doesn't sound like the actions of someone who's like trying to hide what they're doing. I mean, he sounds pretty content to be caught.
That's true, because when they were arresting him, he didn't try and resist arrest or protect his innocence. He simply said that he declared God's will. And at his trial, Martin told the judge, "After I had written 5 letters to the clergy, the last of which I believe was a very severe one, I was very anxious to speak to them by word of mouth, but none of them would come near me." Just to give you an excerpt of what he wrote in the last letter, he said, "Your great minsters and churches will come rattling down upon your guilty heads." So, I mean, that kind of rhetoric didn't really
Also,
encourage them.
it's 5 o'clock, good for tea. Please enclose any dietary requirements. Jane?
So he said, "I prayed to God and asked him what was to be done, and I dreamed that I saw a cloud come over the cathedral, and it told towards me at my lodgings. It woke me out of my sleep, and I asked the Lord what it meant, and he told me it was to warn these clergymen of England who were going to plays and cards and such like, and the Lord told me he had chosen me to warn them."
And I took that to mean burn that shit down.
Yeah,
God is all about burning his own churches. And to be fair, he is about flooding his own planet from time to time.
Right.
Like, he's not, you know,
He's
not.
changed. Turned over a new chapter.
There's
Yeah.
no people that was I'm bored. I want to break out the Old Testament playbook.
Yeah,
What
I haven't played.
Self-destruction. I like it.
I haven't played on Old Testament rules in some time.
As you can imagine, this building being so important in his community meant that Martin was really bad, like really hated, to the point where the judge was so afraid that he was going to get lynched before he got to pass the sentence that they brought in like a regiment of soldiers. Because his confession was taken as a plea of being guilty, the jury was instructed to pronounce only on his sanity, because obviously he already admitted to doing the crime. They only had to say whether he was crazy or not. So he wasn't judged sane, as you can imagine. And much to the chagrin of the public, it took the jury only 7 minutes to decide that the burning of the minster was an act of a man with an unsound mind. Jonathan was then sent to Bedlam for the rest of his life, and he died in the asylum 9 years later, aged 56. But the really interesting thing is that obviously the church was repaired. It took a long time. It took them 3 years. But in 1984, the roof was again extensively damaged by fire. And this wasn't because of a lunatic, as he's been described, like Jonathan, but it was in fact a flash of lightning. And
God wanted
God.
it burnt. See?
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that the supposedly Almighty God took how many 100 years to muster up the power for one lightning bolt. Don't believe.
No, there was loads of lightning all over the planet, but he just kept missing.
James, I'm going to ask you to do something I'm sure you've done many times before.
Yeah.
Imagine you're God.
Yeah.
100 years is not a long time to you.
And also, yeah, I feel like also I've got so much other stuff on my mind, like making wasps do less other than be mean.
Yeah. So that was the story of Jonathan Martin, the
Does anyone else feel a little bit
arsonist.
like...
I think the story started off weak, and then it did get better.
And then it ended with a lightning bolt hitting a church, and then be like, and that caused fire. Sound like a tour guide. And here is where
York
we make
needs tourism.
I
the
think it's
slogan
good.
again that was not said when the Vikings rocked up. Who are you? York needs tourism. Don't look like tourists. We're not.
But speaking of reasons to visit a place, I've got probably the stupidest rivalry between two towns that was started by a poem. This poem was published in 1888, and it's called Casey at the Bat. And it sounds dull because it is.
That's what I like. That's what I want to hear for our content.
So
It
June
sounds
the
dull.
3rd so far is a
Dull day.
very average.
A man who tried to burn a church and didn't, but he died today.
And two towns that dislike each other
because of a very
poem.
boring poem.
Well, I want to hear.
Other news, a man got his hand caught in a drain. Lucky, he was able to grease it up and pull it out. Here's his story. Yeah, it was stuck for about 15 minutes till I could reach over and get the castor oil.
James,
yeah,
Where is this drain?
James,
No, I'm getting. Where is the drain that castor oil is within 15 minutes reach?
Stretch Armstrong.
That's what he said. Took him 15 minutes to reach castor oil from where he was.
No, to work out where it was and get himself to it. Yeah, well, like he's...
Where is the drain, James?
Car painting garage.
There's castor oil.
Why not?
Castor oil's like for a kitchen, right?
Maybe it's for packed lunches. Why you just apply oil to your packed lunch? This bologna sandwich needs a good dose of oil.
You could actually, there would be maths behind it, that if you had one arm in the drain and one arm out, and you rotated it in a complete circumference of basically how far you can reach, and work out how it took you 15 minutes, you could work out the speed in which he was rotating slowly trying to find it.
If you had gone, it was stuck in there for 15 minutes, which is as long as it took for a passerby to pop to Tesco's, buy some lard, come back and grease me up.
No, that's not the story I'm telling, because you know what? That's still more interesting than a man who nearly burnt a church, little bit, and then went to a madhouse.
look, some days you get lucky. Some
And
days
now this
Rome
story-
is founded on that day. But some days you get a man who almost burns down a
And
church.
two towns who got an argument about a poem that was, by all accounts, thoroughly dull.
Well, this
No, it's a comedic ballad. So this was published in 1888. But the towns still have a rivalry over which one of them is the real Mudville.
and that,
The team mentioned in the story.
I'm more intrigued than I was.
Seriously?
Yes!
I'm less intrigued. I'd rather just go and eat mud than hear this story and just see if I get leprosy on the round.
The prison gardener's right there, James. Off you go. Grab a handful.
Okay, I'm going.
So I'm going to get Jonah to
Yeah.
read it for us today, so we can appreciate how important this was culturally to two very small towns
Somewhere in America, I'm guessing.
that are fighting about this since 1888.
Was it in America?
I'm peering behind the veil. I want to find out.
So-
It's baseball. I'm guessing it's America.
Yeah, it is baseball.
Baseball was originally English. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, but it is-
Do
it
we
is-
play it now, Saul?
No.
There we go. It's American.
No.
In 1888.
I just want
Don't we
people to
play
remember the
cricket now?
fact
I'm
that
not
the
very
English
well.
made every sport, but we're just not good at them.
Yeah, the English make sports and get bad at them all the time, and then stop playing them and go on to make new sports they're also equally bad at.
What's the one? Now we can't do football anymore. What we're working on?
Cycling.
Oh, that's the point.
We're
Yeah.
still good. Tennis is still up there.
No, we're not.
Oh no, we're not because Andy Murray's Scottish. Oh shit!
Only when he loses. Otherwise, he's British.
Yeah.
Definitely British.
Casey
Just
at
wait
the
till their
bat.
vote of independence again.
Casey at the Bat, performed by Jonah, surname insert here.
Prison. Jonah Prison.
Oh yeah, prison number 095. There are only 95 prisoners here. It's more of a kind of cult setup, really.
I'm here by choice.
No, you said performed. It's the pressure. I'm sweating, and it's going to be a reading. And don't expect anything more than they usually give you. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. The score stood at 4-2, with 1 inning more to play. And then, when Cooney died at first, and Barrows did the same, sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game.
So the setup's great already. It's like American Sniper. Like, it's very dramatic. It's the story of an underdog team.
Alright, that's every American movie about sport ever.
Well, only the Americans would consider basically a review of a baseball game a poem. So, there we go.
I'm pretty sure you could dig around to English poetry and find something.
Oh yeah,
cricket.
there are plenty, like the one which is just the Glaswegian news reading.
I like that one.
That was awful.
It's
Or
making-
the one
it's
that's just
making it-
about
it's
potatoes in the ground. Equally enjoyable.
You're half Irish,
There
you gotta
aren't
love
any-
that.
No, it was about rotten potatoes.
There aren't
Exactly,
any
it's about the
rules
famine.
about what you're allowed to rhyme about and what you're not allowed to rhyme about. There aren't any rules whether or not you can just repeat the same word and make it and pretend that it is rhyme.
Like Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. It's all poetry.
What created that? My point's
There's a
proven.
little
Yeah, it's a little pump.
It's like the Glaswegian newsreader thing was making an important cultural point. So.
Yeah, about the BBC video watch. Oh.
But guys, this underdog story is
Imagine if we-
also making
if that
important political
Imagine if we had to talk like that now to actually be accepted.
I could do it.
Yeah.
I could pull it off. So therefore, it's a bollocks poem.
Val, can you do it? I mean, you're a woman, you wouldn't be
Yeah, but
accepted
you're
back
not
then.
Scottish.
What do you mean?
This is the BBC World Service. It's received pronunciation, essentially.
This is the BBC.
Why are you speaking with a lisp?
Where the
Why
BBC?
Why the BBC voice in your head has a lisp?
Because I'm so posh, my tongue is too big for my mouth.
No, I'm intrigued.
Because
I'm
my
intrigued
parents
now.
are brother and sister.
Val, do the whole "This is the BBC World Service." And
I kind of want you to
just
read.
doing.
No, I want you to read the poem and do it with that voice.
What was that list?
Yeah, the whole thing.
No, I don't want to take it away from Jonah.
I can't.
Let's dial it back to the poem.
So we've got the underdog story in place.
Stanza 2. This is going to take a while if it takes this for every stanza.
Yeah.
Straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to that hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought if only Casey could get but a whack at that, they'd eat...
This just sounds like a teenager going clubbing for the first time now.
Or if Casey got a whack at that voice.
Let me hope for him yet. And it's in the breast.
He just needs a few more Smirnoff Ice and he's sorted.
Wait, for him or his target?
Column A, column B.
They'd put up even money now with Casey at the bat.
Just do some apple sour shots.
But Flynn, whoever that might be, preceded Casey.
Fucking Flynn, you know, always preceding Casey.
This
Always getting in the way.
This reading is going to take an age. As did also Jimmy Blake. And the former was a Lulu, and the latter was a cake.
Suspected homophobia in that,
Yeah.
that little...
Yeah, I'm getting a bit
Put
of
an
that.
asterisk next to that.
Homophobic, question mark?
You decide if anyone is still awake by this stanza.
It's alright, we only have to get them for the first minute and a half. It counts as a view, then they can leave.
Yeah. Toodaloo.
And we were talking about nooses at the beginning, which
Yeah.
is definitely going to make people stay.
So upon that stricken multitude grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey's getting to the bat. So yeah, I feel that makes more sense if you know the rules of baseball, and I'm not sure that I do. Is it if the other guys before him get out, then it won't matter that he won't get a play?
I don't care.
It's not for you, James. Then comment on it as a work of art. But Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted, and the men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second, and Flynn a hugging third. Then from 5,000 throats and more rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dell, it knocked upon the mountain, and recoiled upon the flat, for Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat.
Wait.
Better die. Something better spice up this story. He better not just thwack it. Like, something better happen, like, I know, a dragon eats him.
There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when, responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat, gentleman James, no stranger in the
And
crowd,
shat himself right there upon the mat. Concludes poem.
upon the bat.
On the
James.
It's for good luck.
No, I think it's that.
To fling at the fucking the guy.
So even if you miss, you get to just spray right in that bowler's eyes.
That's why there were those sandwiches.
This is street baseball.
Can we refrain from comments?
Guys, we've got
Because this is like, I don't like stopping halfway through the stanza. The stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. Yes. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt.
You have to clap tongues with the person next to you.
Oh yeah. Just slapping tongues against one another.
people in 1888 were weird. They were weird in celebrating their sports.
They're able to. I shall write about baseball.
Slapping tongues. What a Lulu and a cake.
Casey. I wish I was Casey.
Definite homophobia. Then while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance gleamed in Casey's eye, a sneer curled Casey's lip. I'm liking this Casey fellow less now. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air.
So kinky.
It's just leather covered, that's what it is.
No, because the writhing picture and then a sneer curled Casey's lip. It's a lot of close-ups at the beginning of a porno. That's what
Fan fiction has done this to you. It's ruined these descriptions.
Yeah, it has.
Just one horny teenager and a
Thesaurus.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And leather-covered sphere, yes, we remember where we are. We all sat comfortably for this. Came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in a haughty grandeur there, close by...
That was mangled. That was like...
So, I'll go again, see if it sounds better. And Casey stood a-watching it in a haughty grandeur there. No, it's still shit.
Yeah, it's still like... Take there, you bitch!
Close by the sturdy batsman and the ball unheeded sped. That ain't my style, said Casey. Strike one, the umpire said.
Oh, I thought you were going to say hit him in the head. Dead. Fin for Casey.
You wish, James. We've got
The next
5
stanza's
stanzas.
great.
There's 5 stanzas left.
The next stanza's great, because I've never heard that description of the benches, ever.
From the benches black with people, there went up a muffled roar, like the beating of storm waves on a stern and distant shore. Kill him, kill the umpire, shouted someone on the stand, and it's likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand. With a smile of Christian charity, but of course, 19th century America, great Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult, he bade the game go on, he signalled to the pitcher, and once more the spheroid flew, but Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, strike two.
What a prick.
It's still going.
And I like it how it's Casey's benevolent, because he stands there, not hitting the ball. The ball goes past, and then one of these fanatical hooligans goes, kill the umpire. Right? And then Casey goes, no, we'll kill him later. Don't worry, I am a merciful God.
To be fair, James,
It's very Christian of him.
there are 5,000 people slapping their tongues
Tongues
against
of one another. Like,
It's like it's an old-fashioned slang for making out. It's just
oh
to
my
applaud
God.
with your tongue.
Can you imagine that if you just watched, I don't know, like any kind of, like, say if it was a boxing match, and one of the guys just put his things down and hit me in the face, the other guy did, and this was like, kill that guy. And then you're like, no, I let him hit me in the face.
There's more great quotes from the crowd.
This is, if we have anyone listening in America, this might make them retch. But as far as I understand it, there are balls in baseball which the batter might refrain from swinging at because he thinks that they won't count. So when the umpire.
Yes. Yeah, that is exactly how it works.
So if the umpire then says no, fair ball, it's a strike. That's essentially your question in the call. Like, was it foul or not?
And they're like, we should now kill the umpire.
Yeah. So the crowd.
If you can hit the ball and you don't, then you get a strike.
Yeah. Whereas what the batsman and the crowd are contesting is he couldn't have hit that ball.
Yeah.
So if you pitch,
Because Casey makes no mistakes.
No, he's a god.
He is a god.
Like, if this poem doesn't end with him turning around going, I was actually the Archangel Gabriel, and ascending back to heaven, I'm going to be disappointed.
Okay.
So, fraud, cried the maddened thousands, and an echo answered fraud. That's good to know. But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed.
Did he just go... They said fraud, and the echo of said word was also fraud. It was as if they called out fraud, and the echo came back saying,
Nah.
hello everyone, I'm an echo.
So I like the idea of like the all the crowd in
This guy was
unison.
just filling his word count. It said fraud, and the echo also said fraud.
A couple of points. One, it sounds like the whole of the audience are rooting for this one team. Like, the other team that's playing don't have any fans. No. As well as, number two, the fact that they all in unison just went, forward! And then Casey just, like, glared around the arena, just glaring at all the audience.
No, but I prefer the idea that the person who screamed fraud was just one guy in a quiet stadium waiting for it
Well,
to...
how's it quiet? Everyone's clapping tongues.
And then the other person, kill him!
Kill him!
Everyone goes like trying to get at the umpire. You're lucky Casey's here, umpire. Otherwise, I stabs you.
Indeed, they saw his face grow stern and cold, they saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let the ball go by again.
Get in there!
You better miss this third one and just go, well, I'm gonna. Let's leave.
The sneer is gone from Casey's lip, his teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with violence his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go, and now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. You laugh at the word
too
blow.
much fan fiction. This is too much for me.
Oh, somewhere in this favoured land, the sun is shining. Favoured land, my God. And spelt wrong as well. The sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. Somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out.
Oh, he didn't hit it.
No, yeah, no, not at all.
That's the joke, because it's so long. And you keep waiting, and it keeps building up to Casey basically having this majestic victory, but he never gets it.
Because I think as well, because they've got two plates loaded.
Who gives a shit which one is Mudville?
People do give a
We're the real Mudville. Why? Why does it matter?
Are they accusing the other one of being Mudville?
I think that's the plan. But to be fair, like you can see, like with two bases loaded, if he had hit a home run, they would have got 3 runs. They would have won 5-4.
Yes, but
who cares?
The team.
the numbers were there.
Well done for that poet. Well done. He put all his little pieces together. How clever of him.
Did you not like this joke?
What, it just goes all that... No, I didn't.
oh, that's fucking awful.
Because it was so boring. It's so boring. It's just talking about baseball. It's like, I subverted your expectation. Which is the only thing that stopped me from going and using my noose on myself. Because I'm like, oh, it didn't go out exactly as I hoped.
James, we all know that you're a fanatical novelite. So if it's not prose, we're going to take your opinions with
Oh, okay.
a hefty pinch of salt.
The fraud, echoed fraud, did it, Jonah? You've only got to produce like a flipping, not even 1,000 words to produce a poem, and you're still pumping up your word count like that. Fuck you. Go write haikus.
And that was Casey at the bat. And
So where is Mudville?
Mudville,
In
you've
dispute.
got 2 contestants. Yeah, it's in dispute. The residents of Holliston in Massachusetts say that there's a neighbourhood there called Mudville, and they claim that was the original Mudville described in the poem because Thayer, the poet, grew up in the local neighborhood, but residents of Stockton, California, which was known for a time as Mudville prior to incorporation in 1850, also they claim to being the inspiration for the poem, because in 87 Thayer covered baseball for the Daily Examiner, which was said to have covered the local California League team, so in that local area.
Wait.
But
I thought people were ducking responsibility for being shit town with shit
no,
team.
they're fighting to be Mudville. And despite the town's rival claims, Thayer himself told the Syracuse Post-Standard that the poem has no basis in fact.
That's
So what you're telling me
There's still fights
is at
about
the
this.
end of our epic quest,
Yes.
we've discovered no one is Mudville. The poem is subsequently irrelevant, as is these 2 towns' beef.
This is like
This entire manly journey has been for nothing.
This is like the fantasy RPG equivalent of the treasure was knowledge. It's like,
It was friendship. Hear the sound of me just plunging onto my own sword in the background and falling into said empty chest.
I've got another topic for you, James, that I know you'll enjoy immensely.
Yeah, is it the Samaritan's Hotline?
Since I know what a huge royalist you are,
Yeah, massive.
I thought I'd talk about how Dr. Frederick Banting, the man who discovered insulin, was knighted on this day. And I ever thought it would be a fun kind of thing to do to look up some ridiculous reasons why people have been knighted, but I couldn't find it. There is not actually like a whole list
Of people
who have been knighted and what they've been knighted for. Yeah. There are breakdowns and percentages that you can look up, like for example 11% of knighthoods this year went to education, but you can't actually see X awarded for this. So it's not like the Nobel Prize where they go, you were awarded for this.
For peace, Mr. Hitler. For peace.
But this is why I kind of thought it was interesting, the comparison between that and the Nobel Peace Prize, because Frederick Banting, when he was awarded the Nobel Prize for the discovery of insulin, was actually very angry and didn't want to accept it because it was unfairly given. So I'm going to explain a little bit of what like the story is like. So I don't know if you know anything about insulin at all. So I'm just going to go with the basics. So people who have diabetes have a condition where their pancreas isn't releasing the insulin fluid, which helps break down sugars. As a result of this, there is a high blood sugar, which means that people start experiencing negative symptoms where their body isn't breaking down that energy, and it can be very dangerous, leading to death. Prior to the discovery of insulin, getting diabetes is something that would have most certainly led to death. It wasn't like doctors didn't know or recognize the condition, they just didn't know how to help it. So they knew that sugar worsened the condition of diabetic patients. So the only effective treatment they were able to offer was a diet that was incredibly low in sugar. So
that, and also the way that they used to test if you had diabetes was to drink your urine.
Yeah, that's true.
And if it was sweet, it meant that your body wasn't processing it.
But so this
Easiest way.
Yeah.
I still do it today. Keep drinking my urine, just checking if I have diabetes.
Never sweet, but I love it.
So obviously the reduction in sugar intake wasn't ideal because loads of the foods that we eat have such a high concentration of it. And even if you were incredibly strict, this treatment could only buy patients a few extra years, but it never saved them. And in some cases, the harsh diets even caused the patients to die of starvation because they weren't getting enough sugars, which is where most of our energy comes from. So during the 19th century, observations of patients who died from diabetes often showed that the pancreas was damaged. German medical student Paul Langerhans found that it was because of pancreatic tissue. But the problem was, it was a hypothesis that it was based in the pancreas and it was a chemical that was being secreted, but they couldn't actually isolate it. So what Banting did is that he came up with the idea where you would basically limit the flow of nourishment to the pancreas, which means that the pancreas would degenerate, making it shrink and lose its ability to secrete anything, which means that then it could be taken out without a lot of damage to the body, and the cells could be used to produce an anti-diabetic secretion that could be extracted from the pancreas without being harmed. So in 1921, he took this idea to Professor John MacLeod in the University of Toronto, who was the leading figure in the study of diabetes in Canada. And MacLeod or MacLeod?
MacLeod, funnily enough.
MacLeod?
Yeah. It's Scottish spelling, but it's MacLeod.
So MacLeod didn't think much of Banting's theories, but despite it, he gave him 10 dogs.
What kind of dogs?
I thought you were going to say $10. No, 10 dogs.
He gave him 10 dogs and the most basic equipment. I think he gave him a room to rent from him.
How generous, rather than a field. Look after your dogs.
So Banting also got an assistant.
Stay.
Which
was also a dog.
Which, I mean, that's a man's best assistant. But which, by the description of this article, makes it sound like Charles Best was just pawned off on Banting, like to make his life more difficult. Like, he was a medical student that wouldn't leave MacLeod alone, and he was like, 10 dogs, shit equipment, and this fucker.
Hello!
So Charles Best and Banting actually were really successful in the experiment because obviously it led to the discovery of insulin. Charles Best and Banting removed the dog's pancreas, which meant that the dog developed diabetes, it became more thirsty, drank loads of water, became weak, its blood sugar rose, it was sick. And then they took another dog and then did that process where the idea that Banting had, where you limit the flow of nutrients to the pancreas, they degenerate, and then they cut the pancreas out, grind them up, and then isolated this substance, and then gave it to the diabetic dog, and then that dog felt better, started acting normal again. They basically showed that you can help. Obviously, this is problematic.
The second dog also probably then developed diabetes.
Exactly.
And then by the end of it, you're going to have 9 diabetic dogs and 1 dead dog.
But 2 very alive humans, unfortunately, for that assistant. Just wait till you pull me off to someone else.
So obviously they realised that this wasn't very kind of life effective. So they moved on to a bigger animal. So they gave a dog diabetes, and then they took the pancreas of a cow. And then eventually they moved on to testing on humans, and they were testing on themselves for a while. They didn't give themselves diabetes.
How noble of them.
They basically wanted to test whether the injection of the substance would be safe. So what MacLeod's contribution to this is that he saw that the experiment worked, and he said, great, have a bigger lab, study it more thoroughly before you start doing human testing.
30
when
dogs.
when it came to human testing, the guys had tested it on themselves because they wanted to make sure that it was safe, and it was. And then the first patient was a 14-year-old boy who volunteered. He was like really close to death. And then they gave him insulin and suddenly he started eating again. It was like a miracle. People were like amazed. And then obviously the news reached the Nobel Committee, who decided to award Banting and MacLeod the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. And Banting was so angry because MacLeod did nothing for this other than obviously like give the equipment. But the person who should have won the prize, in his opinion, should have been his assistant. And probably thorn in his side, judging by the description of this article. Obviously, the Nobel Prize comes as a title, but also comes as a as money.
Cash monies.
As cash monies, and he shared his money with Charles Best because he was like, "You did a good job. I like you." And he was also knighted in 1934. And that was the story of
knighted in
Dr.
America.
Frederick Banting. And now you know where insulin comes from, because I didn't know that.
No, yeah, it was
that's-
interesting. That was certainly more interesting than.
The last
Casey.
I'm Mudville!
No, I'm Mudville.
I'm Shittown upon Thames.
Yeah.
It's been very tame today in history so far. I'd say they've been very low key. Not a lot of crime going on there. Usually we tend to go for blood and gore and guts. So I thought I'd finish it off with something that happened in 1968 when Andy Warhol was shot 3 times by Valerie Solanas. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, basically Andy Warhol
Was
was...
shot 3 times by
he got shot.
How many times?
Up to 3 times, they've claimed. No, Andy Warhol was basically, apologies to Warhol fans out there, a self-entitled prick. And he essentially took her art and kind of either discredited it or claimed it for his own, because he used it or something like that. He's basically just I don't know then, do I? Clearly I don't know.
No,
She
you're
capped
wrong.
him though. She shot him several times.
She did cap him.
Yeah.
So Andy Warhol, for those who don't know, is an artist. He's really famous for
Canning his own shit and giving it to his friends. Yeah.
Yeah, he did loads of work with like the Campbell soup cans. I guess he's most famous for his pop art, which is like he's got one that's like double Elvis, which is literally a canvas and 2 Elvises. He's got Marilyn Monroe, which you've probably seen in every girl's bedroom, which is like where she's been painted pink, yellow, and blue. Basically, he was doing stuff that was very kind of different looking.
Quote unquote simple. Like
It was
a picture of a soup
It was print work. There was a lot of print work.
Valerie met Warhol 2 years before she shot him. So it took her 2 years.
Not on the day. Not on the day.
It took her 2 years to be like,
he wasn't
maybe...
that much of a prick where you just walk up to him and say hello, like whatever.
Have you heard what Andy Warhol was like? Because I'd have shot him on that day, on that fucking spot.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know him. That's why you're saying that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she met him 2 years prior to trying to kill him. And she was badgering him to produce a play that she'd written. And allegedly...
That was it.
And allegedly
Listen to her
Warhol was saying that he skimmed it and he felt like it was a highly scatological script and found it so obscene that he suspected that Miss Solanas was working for the police on some kind of entrapment. That's how rude it was in his opinion. And she was so upset with him because eventually he lost the script completely after she'd been asking him for feedback, after she'd been asking him to push it. And she got a gun and she shot him 3 times. She's actually famous in her own right after this occurred because she wrote something that's called the Scum Manifesto, which is the Society for Cutting Up Men. That's what the acronym stands for. She's known as one of the early extremist voices in feminism, where she was basically talking about how men needed to be killed and shit like this. But this was obviously after the shooting that she came up with this manifesto. Nobody's actually part of the Society for Cutting Up Men other than herself, which I feel like is inaccurate because it was a society for shooting at one particular man, which doesn't make as good an acronym as...
Shooting one particular man. Sophom.
Yeah, Sophom is not as good as Scum. I'll give you that. So she was basically she pleaded guilty to assault and was sentenced to 3 years in prison.
Assault.
Yeah, because she didn't actually kill him. That's the thing.
But the 3 bullets killed him. Is that what she argued?
No. She shot him, but it didn't kill him. He was really badly injured. So she was then sentenced to 3 years in prison.
3 years.
3 years in prison.
1 year per bullet.
Yeah.
Wow.
And later diagnosed with schizophrenia. Warhol, meanwhile, spent 2 months in the hospital recuperating from surgeries to repair his damaged lungs, esophagus, spleen, liver and stomach, and in some ways he never fully recovered, meaning that he wore a surgical corset for the rest of his life. This experience made him so terrified of going to hospitals that when his personal doctor advised him that he had a gallstone, he didn't go to the hospital until it was too late and the infection spread, and because he was convinced that if he was hospitalized he would die. And
I think that if I was shot, I wouldn't be scared of the hospital. I'd be scared that I might be shot again.
yeah, I know, but like it doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah,
with
but
people,
you know
I guess,
all
with
the
rational
pain and
fears.
agony that you were in.
Yeah.
Recover.
So then his gallbladder became.
Not the initial pain and agony from being shot.
When you go into shock a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have
I mean,
felt
he wasn't wrong because he wasn't able to put off treatment any longer. His gallbladder was infected, and he finally underwent surgery and died the next day of a heart attack. So hospital did kill him in the end.
Not the gallstone. Or the lack of going to the hospital sooner.
Yeah.
The hospital.
Well, there we go. That was
prophecy is fulfilled.
So there we go. That was Andy Warhol's and Valerie Solanas' story. I'm sure, James, you found it thrilling, and that.
At least someone got shot. Wouldn't mind
But
it.
again, this is another failed crime. She meant to kill him, but didn't do it.
Yeah, a lot of
She
people
didn't-
failing to do what they meant. Casey missing that ball. Smoke.
Banting's the only one that's a
Yeah.
real success story.
Yeah,
You
well
got
done,
90.
Banting.
Banting!
Doing exactly
But
what you meant to do.
his assistant failed to get the Nobel Prize.
No, he didn't set out to do that. He sent to cure diabetes, which he did. So well done to those two. Bad play, Valerie.
Solanas.
No, I was thinking the name of the guy who burned down the church.
Valerie.
John.
Jonathan.
And Casey.
Yeah.
And also all the populaces that want to be Mudville. You're all losers today. Well done.
And that was Today in History, meaning that it's time for Famous Facts. So I've got an exciting lineup for us today. As always, Famous Facts is the segment where I take the day, I look up who was born in that day, try to pick different people from different time periods and different countries, backgrounds and career paths, and pick a little bit out of their biography and ask you to match up the person with the fact.
So who we got today?
So we've got today 20 BC, Lucius Aelius Sejanus, Roman ambitious soldier, friend and
Oh yeah, he was ambitious.
and confident of Roman Emperor Tiberius.
Tiberius.
Was he like Roman Emperor ambitious? Like
No, he was like...
He was real ambitious.
I'm just gonna use my position to kill everyone I don't like and steal all their money and land. Yeah.
right.
He was like a plague, like a cancer. He grew.
A plate and those are two very
Plate.
vastly
Like,
different...
Good.
Oh, if we said plate. He's like a plate. Give me money, put it on the plate. And the heads of your loved ones.
1808, Jefferson Davis, American
Oh
politician.
no.
1985, Detox Ikunt, an American reality star and
Guys.
drag queen.
Like, sorry to interrupt. Do you know what Jeff Davis is famous for? President of the Confederate States
Yes,
of America.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just so we all know going forward.
So 1985, Detox Ikunt, an American reality star and drag queen. 1986, Rafael Nadal, Spanish tennis player. And 1982, Yelena Isinbayeva, the Russian pole vaulter. So, are we ready for our facts, kids?
I wonder how much I know about Russian pole vaulters. Anything about doping, I'm saying it's her.
Okay, this person was a commissioned officer in the army and promoted to captain.
Commissioned officer.
Who do you think it is?
I would have said Confederacy.
Yeah, Jeff Davis.
Yeah, I would have said Davis.
Jeff, and James?
Well, the thing is, that fits the bill for the one I know quite well, but the problem is that like it's so vague, it could be someone else.
Okay, who would you like to go for?
Well, that's the idea, isn't it?
No,
This-
Yeah, that's the point of famous facts.
What I mean is, I know this person did do it as well.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say Sejanus. Like, I know that's what he
Okay.
did. Like,
Part of the Roman.
yeah, he was an equestrian.
Yeah.
Like,
This person suffered an accident which required a reconstruction of their forehead.
It's from the forehead.
so I need to look up a picture of Rafael Nadal.
No, that's.
If he's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh crap!
I was
I'm pretty
thinking
sure
like-
I've seen portraits of Jeff Davis. He's got a very squat forehead.
Oh.
Well, I'm gonna swoop in there. Jeff Davis.
Right. I'm gonna say Sejanus then, because that's tactical. Because if the first one is Sejanus, then it doesn't ruin my answers for the other ones.
Yeah. That's
What are you gonna go
play.
to?
Tactical
I-
playing.
I'm
Still two wrong answers.
just gonna keep going wrong. I'm gonna say it's the Russian pole vault.
Okay.
She vaulted too hard. Cost
And
her a
James-
forehead.
What drove her to succeed? Because the first time she messed up, she was way
landed
low.
on the pole.
This person was placed under house arrest for their role in the eggnog riot.
What?
I didn't know such a thing existed.
House arrest.
House arrest for eggnog riot.
Right.
Now, I'm going to go with the Russian pole vaulter because I can imagine them being out.
No, drag queen.
I actually would.
Detox.
Okay. Soul goes for detox.
I mean, it does
Because
sound...
because eggnog is the only thing that
American,
Americans
yeah,
do.
yeah,
No one
I
gives
was
a shit about
detox.
eggnog anyone else.
Yeah.
You've gone for Helena, you've gone for
No,
detox.
I've changed my answer almost. I
You're
I
on
didn't
detox,
fight
yeah.
answer
Yeah.
that. I was swayed by Saul's opinion.
Saul's got conviction.
Yeah.
If this is a double bluff, Saul,
I
fair
commend
play.
you.
Okay, exciting,
No, I'm joking.
exciting fact. This person featured in a Shakira music video. Is it Jefferson Davis?
Oh no, it's Rafael Nadal.
Is it
Yeah.
Sejanus?
Yeah, Rafael.
Detox, Rafael Nadal, or
Nadal.
Helena Isabella?
Yeah, Rafael Nadal. Give me your
And this person helped put out a fire in a theatre.
I guess we're stuck with the pole vaulter.
No, I'm stuck with Sejanus.
It's not him. He probably started the fire. It was like, I'll pay you. I'll open the doors if you pay me. And no,
What are you going for?
I'm going with the Russian pole vaulter. That's the only way I've left.
Okay. And at
I feel like
the
I
end
got
of
nearly
this
everything
round,
wrong.
at the end of this round, I think you got one right. Yeah. Jonah, congratulations. So let's go through it. So this person is a commissioned officer in the National Army and promoted to captain. You voted for Jefferson Davis, and James, you voted for Sejanus, but it is in fact Helena Isabella.
Well, it is Sejanus.
Those tricky
It's my
Russians.
point.
And also Sejanus. But would discussing the Roman army, would you be using the same words? Wouldn't it be a different more
Well, yeah, you
specific
could
title?
do, but-
So surely then...
Specifically the rank of captain.
No, yeah, well, no, it's not captain, but
So-
he was the essential.
Yeah,
rank
wrong.
cap-
Another interesting thing about Yelena Isinbayeva is that she's incredibly homophobic, which has led her to be a very controversial figure
Very
because,
popular in
Sorry,
Russia.
Very
I was going to
popular
say,
in
yeah,
Russia.
the Russian.
but on an international front, very controversial because not only is she homophobic to the extent of like supporting
That's
the
why she pole vaults, to get as high as possible
to
away
get as
from
far
them.
away from,
away from the gays.
but she also goes
Can't catch me up here. Can't bite me. Give me the.
So she supported the act for against the homosexual propaganda law that happened in Russia, where they basically banned any representation for
See,
people
if
from the
you'd
LGBT.
said that, this person was extremely homophobic, wouldn't have
So
gone with
Janus.
Sejanus. Because you said captain in his nationalised army, he fits the bill.
Did he?
So we're all
Yes,
wrong.
he did.
We're
The
all
Roman
wrong.
Legion, the nationalised
Okay.
army of Rome, he was an equestrian.
In this case, you were all wrong. This person has been in an accident that required a reconstruction of their forehead. Okay, so you've gone for Yelena, you've gone for...
So Janus, you went for Jefferson.
And the real answer is Detox. Detox was in a car accident
Oh, damn
that
it.
caused her to have to reconstruct her forehead, not herself, with the help of a surgeon.
She's a drag queen. she's not that good.
eggnog guy.
Yes.
I knew it was one of the Americans.
So Detox is a really famous drag queen. She's one of the wealthiest drag queens that ever came out of RuPaul's Drag Race. I think her estimated net worth is something like $2 million.
Was she captain in the nationalised army?
No, she was not. She
James
was...
is possibly right and also wrong.
I know.
You're so grumpy today.
Super
Okay.
salto.
So she was.
I got 2 on the trot in this game. I've had 2 on the trot. I think it's 3 actually.
So
So far, have any of us got one right?
no,
No.
nobody's got one.
Couldn't
Does that mean
continue.
I'm right with my one answer? I win.
So she's one of the wealthiest drag queens that ever came out of RuPaul's Drag Race. I think her estimated net worth is like $2 million. She was the runner-up on All Stars Season 2 and was also in another season that I don't remember. I love Drag Race, but not that much. Okay, this person was placed under house arrest for their role in the eggnog riot. You guys have all gone for Detox. It was not Detox. It was Jefferson Davis, as you've said. And the eggnog riot constituted of people just getting pissed and shouting and fighting. That was the eggnog riot. It's very
So
self-explanatory.
it was a riot caused by eggnog,
Yeah.
not a riot
For
about
eggnog.
eggnog. Yeah.
Gave me eggnog.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, that's
Writing
what I
for
thought.
eggnog.
So you're all wrong on
prohibition.
that one. This person was featured in a Shakira music video. I really hope to throw you off because drag queens are often appearing in music videos of celebrities, like Detox, for example.
Oh, don't worry, pal. You've already thrown me off.
This person, So Detox was in a music video for Kesha, Britney Spears, and Miley Cyrus. Like, she's been in loads.
Yeah, but we didn't know that because we
Yeah.
didn't care about Detox.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I just thought maybe you'd think, a drag queen might be more likely. But
I never
fair
even
enough.
thought
you
that.
were all right.
We thought tennis players.
For each main fact, I've also added a little sub fact about the person to remind myself. Jefferson Davis married somebody who was 18 years his junior. That was my fact there. You guys all went for Rafael Nadal. My fact about him was that he's very ugly when he smiles.
That's
Very opinionated.
That's not a fact.
More of an opinion.
It's not like science has come out and been like, it's true, he's ugly when he smiles. There's no opinion about it.
I mean, you could say they probably
It's said science now.
out of all
The machine said so.
out of all tennis players, he probably picks his arse the most.
Yes.
That's a scientific
That's
fact.
scientific.
See, you could count that, but he's like, it's provable that no one can find this man attractive when he smiles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clearly very subjective. There's loads of women that
So
fawn
Sir
over
James
him.
started a fire in a theatre.
He didn't start a fire in a theatre. He helped put out a fire in a theatre, which was one of the reasons why he was
I could
considered.
too right.
He was considered a noble, good-mannered citizen. This was the act that like cemented him because he ran in there and he saved the theatre. But he was a real Macbeth motherfucker because
You even said.
I didn't know. I just know about him skimping off the top and murdering everyone. Because it's more interesting than him like, I saved a cat. And by that I mean a pleb from a fire.
didn't he? Wasn't his first
Yeah,
hit?
literally a plan.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't his first hit?
Don't ask me. Apparently I know nothing.
No one said that, you salty, salty fuck.
I know nothing.
You're saying that about yourself.
I'll get it. No, I mean I don't. I honestly don't know.
I think his first hit was that he was instrumental in the death of this guy called something narcissist.
Could be any rhyme.
Narcissist.
It's like the bit in Bruges.
And he was
what's your
basically
name?
like
Dara
fucking his
Malar?
wife. He was like fucking his wife, and he basically convinced his wife to help him kill the husband.
Libya.
Yeah, there we go. Those are our famous
Not
facts. Thank you
Libya,
for
sorry,
playing.
Libya,
Congratulations, Jonah, for your first
Not
win.
Livia. I got it wrong. Sorry, but yes, it's someone's wife.
And that was famous facts. And Jonah, congratulations. Is this your first win? How do you feel?
I think
Points microphone in your face.
this picks the whole thing up. I think it is my first win.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought I was losing, like, from the start. Well, not from the start. From the moment I realised that Jefferson Davis might not have been a captain in the army. But yeah, it was a surprise win. Surprised everyone, even me.
And a real underdog story, much like Casey. And the
Was he?
town.
He wasn't a dog.
Let's put it out there. Underdog story is if when I win.
We drew once.
Speaking of dogs,
That's
though.
not an underdog. Yeah, but I want to win.
No, but you've been a competitive.
Speaking of dogs, though, I have a dog-related debatable.
Oh, we're doing Debatable now.
We are,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. You know how I like the smooth segue into this. Into this
Smooth
section.
segue rather than, what did I say earlier on? I was like, speaking of God.
Oh yeah, because we're talking about Godfrey's Law. Now there is a circuitous line of thought behind this because I've been rewatching Taboo, which is very good. You should watch it. And because I've been watching it on YouTube, entirely legally as it happens, I got a recommended for just Tom Hardy interview clips. And there's one in which he's paying more attention to the dog sat next to him than the interviewer. And the interviewer says, "You really like dogs, don't you, Tom?" And he's like, "Yeah, more than I like people, really. But the people I really like, I just regard as dogs. Like, I like all dogs, but I regard people I like as dogs." Which led me essentially to the Dr. Dolittle question, but selectively. So I thought, if you could converse with an animal, or animal group, should we say, so we're not talking just Alsatians here, or German Shepherds, sorry.
Yes.
Which would it be? And this is a shower thought, but I'm roping you all in to resolve my shower thought. So I picked, essentially at random, 3 kind of animal groups, which I think that you need to sort out amongst, for me, which one would be the most interesting to talk to. So James, you're arguing for the aquatic types, the fish.
Okay.
So you get the easy one, you get dogs. And Val, you get the birds. The
I
creatures of
wanted
the air.
birds.
Well, you don't. So we've decided structure is needed. Otherwise James just kind of establishes dominance and is impossible to budge, really. So we're going for formal debating rules of everyone gets a minute to make their case, and then we're allowing a 2-minute rebuttal. And I have to referee the 3 of you. So Saul, because you've got dogs and they're the easiest, your minute's first.
Could you repeat the question again?
Oh yeah, so if one animal group was given the gift of human speech, which one would be the best to talk
not the
to?
fact that we could understand them.
Not necessarily, no.
So the fact that they just start talking.
But no, yeah, which one would be the best to have a conversation with? Obviously Tom Hardy's on the side of dogs, and so are you, Saul.
Okay.
Your minute starts, and now.
I'm vouching for dogs because I think they will be the most useful. For the fact that if you can actually converse with a dog, I mean, think about how long it takes to train dogs to do what you say. If you could actually just converse and be treated as essentially equals, it'd be a lot easier to, give commands and maybe take commands. You'd be like,
You're saying that the dogs might one day be in charge.
no, not that. But I mean, you'd be on similar levels. It's not the fact that it wouldn't be like dogs were being domesticated, but it's more because if they can understand you, you don't want to be talking down on them.
Oh, okay.
You made it sound so kinky.
No, I don't
Take a command from a
So
dog.
I have my minute.
Yeah.
He's taking back his time.
Yeah, so you have 5 seconds remaining.
Wow. Okay, that's not a lot of time,
No, not at all.
and that's
3.
that's my time over. Is that
So-
really a minute?
Yeah, it was. So should we rebuttal now, or should everyone make a case?
Everyone make a case first, I think.
Okay, James, for fish, your time starts now.
The ocean is a place of plenty. Dogs are good, yes, as are birds. But the ocean is the future. If we could communicate with algae and krill and all kinds of aquatic creatures, we could monopolise on this to provide food, which is very useful. The problem is that the fish can't be easily lured. We should be tricking them with conversation into the nets, and then we know that we'll let their children go if they just stop squirming. We can get, at the end of the day, the spectacle factor will go up. We can actually get the killer whales. We can know what's wrong with the animals that are sad in our tanks, rather than just guessing and making them jump some more. On top of that, we can use this for power, food, resources, all communicating with the lands of the fish and the ocean creatures would be more helpful than, say, a simple dog or birds, because birds suck.
And that's your minute. There you go. Just with a closing bird suck. Fair enough. I'm sensing there might be some flaws in the case you've made there, but I leave that to Saul and Val to pick out. And finally, Val, 1 minute to make the case for why we should listen to birds, if they could speak.
Well, first of all, we're listening to birds all the time, and being able to use this useless to us noise that most people who enjoy it appreciate only for its kind of aesthetic qualities. Like, for instance, the sound of bird can be relaxing. We can use it in other areas. So say, for instance, if the sound of bird is relaxing, we can get birds to make music for us. We can use them as instruments. We can use birds to pass messages. We can use birds to complete deliveries. We can use birds. Say, for instance, you can visit an eagle to carry your Amazon package for you. That cuts down on production and saves a whole species from being hunted down. Or maybe that's the opposite. Oh my god, that's the flaw in my argument. You would just shoot the bird. Fuck me. Okay. So you can use them for travel. You can use them for communication. You can use them for
Ride me out.
for music, and you can use them as spies. They can spy on your neighbours.
That's my word. I thought I was being condescending when I said dogs were by far the easiest argument to make, but the arguments made for birds and fish, respectively, have been...
I'm going to blow
Fishy.
the fucking hole in the side of Saul's dog argument in a second.
Well-
So hold
He
your
wants
fucking
to be
post.
dominated by dogs.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Hold
that's
your
what
fucking
I'm
son. Hold
I
your
want
fucking
to
horses.
I want to take my commands from a dog.
No, I'm not saying.
Tell you what, that's
That,
To be
don't go
fair,
on that.
I'm not
process.
saying.
2 minutes to rebuttal the arguments made by Saul in favour of
Does Saul have to
conversation.
stay silent at this point, or can he retaliate and argue? For the
I think if
we don't let them speak, and then you have a closing statement that can hopefully address. the points of argument.
that will work like that. We'll leave time for it. So 2 minutes and
So
James?
James gets 2 minutes, and then I get 2 minutes.
No. we
2
get
minutes
it
shared,
together.
and I'll try and
okay.
Yeah.
referee
So
to.
I have a point.
So James has an opening sound. Then.
Straight away. Dogs are the oldest domesticated animal on the planet, because humans and dogs already essentially speak to one another. We understand one another. Wasting the ability to understand an animal group on an animal that loves to be trained by humans and is constantly around humans obeying their every command is pointless. We do not have mastery over the fish. We do not have mastery over the skies and the birds. We do, however, have mastery over dogs. They are pretty much the loyalist things we have. We don't need to speak to them. That would just be a wasted cherry on top of that cake. They already talk to us.
Yeah, it's not something that would benefit. It's not something that would benefit us being able to communicate to dogs, because what it could create is open a window to more problems. Like, for instance, dogs will stop listening to commands from their masters. They will be able to talk back at them. When you say to a dog, sit or no fucking treat, the dog says, okay, I'm gonna sit. If it could talk back to you and be like, no, you sit, what would you do?
The point is that dogs, as much as I'd like to not affiliate with Val's argument there, dogs, as I said, they're already really trained, and really humans have that bond with the animal.
So just to be
We
clear,
don't need. They understand our speech enough.
yeah, your argument's a waste. Val is worried that she might get sassed by a dog.
Also, another thing is that when it comes to like the sounds that they make, dogs like whining, not cute. Can you imagine the sound, that same pitch of a dog's kind of voice all the time?
As opposed to not hearing birdsong, but hearing actual conversation.
We're focusing on me at the moment.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll get to that.
So the thing is with dogs is dogs
sounds annoying.
We already have a very good relationship with them. We already understand them. They already understand us, and giving them the power of speech may interfere with that, so we have more to lose from it. And B, it may not have the most reward compared to the other animal groups.
Because we already know quite a lot about
Yeah,
dogs.
and we already get along with them very, very well. Whereas instead, with birds and fish, much less tamed.
Dogs can't spy on your neighbours.
Alright. Okay, so Saul.
You were wasting quite a lot of time repeating the same argument. So I was.
Anyway,
I
to
wanted to jump in there with the
that
fact
good
that dogs.
argument.
As opposed to your don't worry that they might sass us. Saul, your closing remarks when
My
everyone's...
closing remarks.
Dogs might sass us a good boy.
No, you do that at the end. Now you and Val come in on me.
No, I feel like it's fair while your criticisms
Yeah.
are
I was
fresh.
in while it's
Yeah,
fresh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if I give you 30 seconds to close? Or would you like a minute?
Minute, I think. So, your whole point was the fact that you think that dogs will stop listening to us, and yet your argument... No, you were saying that... You
have a shared responsibility, I'm afraid, for the argument.
You were saying that your point was that if dogs could understand us, they would stop obeying us. That was your point.
No, my point was that it's a waste because we already control dogs.
Okay, but then you're saying that there's more to gain from being able to talk to fish, even though surely that's the same argument. Surely if you can speak to fish and say, come into my net, they'll just be like, no.
But we have nothing to lose from trying. Whereas with dogs, we could mess up the system that we already have with them if we gave them the power to speech and comprehend. Whereas with fish, they're already swimming away from us. We're already grabbing them via nets.
But we're very, very good at catching fish to the point where we're over-farming them.
Yeah.
So how is talking to them beneficial when we can farm them even more to extinction?
Yeah. Food. Food's more useful than dog.
So that will do for that closing remark. James, it's your turn to defend your views on fish.
Well, they get to attack me for 2 minutes. Sure.
Yes, actually that's better. You just have to...
You sit here and listen.
you have to weather the storm.
Yeah.
So, Saul and Val,
Do you want to go first?
There you go.
Okay.
2 minutes.
So, the flaw in your argument was already pointed out. We already control quite a lot of the fish market. We overfish. There's not a lot to be gained from being able to communicate with fish because of the fact that they're a lower intelligence organism, for instance. Like, I don't
Apart
think...
from dolphins.
And orcas.
Yeah. I mean, it's very
whales.
it's very difficult to be able to gain any new information from that. Would you like to hear the 6 months of memories from a goldfish? Do you care? Are you going to sit down and be like, so tell me, what happened over the last 6 months? You've been fucking circling this tank. It's not interesting. It's not beneficial. It doesn't add anything to the world for creative, cultural, or just basic communicative value.
I guess also it'd be really hard to hear them unless your head was also in the water. You'd have to put your head in the water to understand them because you can't speak through.
We have underwater mics.
Yeah, I understand that, but like to communicate back, you'd need underwater speakers.
True.
And it just seems like very convoluted
Yeah,
to have these.
impossible.
I mean, yes, you'd be able to speak to them, but you still need a lot more technology. It's not like you're just shouting at a fish tank. Like, if you're shouting at the ocean and hoping there's a fish there close enough to hear you and respond.
True. there might be cause to set up kind of conference rooms. I just want to come in and it's been irregular for the ref to come in. I'll tell you, I'll pause the timer while I cut into your time. But I like that James was like, we have trouble in trapping fish, and it's like they're famously difficult to bait animals. And back in with Val.
Another thing is, we don't kill dogs. We don't have to listen to a dog say, I'm fucking dying right now, you fucking sick animal. If you communicate to fish, you get to hear its last words. It's the worst. We're not ever going to eat seafood again.
Imagine going to a fancy restaurant with a lobster tank and all of them just being like, help, help, save us. Like, can I have that one? The one that's really, really pleading.
It's horrible.
Can I have the
Why would you want
lobster?
to talk to fish? Like, you don't need to hear their suffering. It's absolutely inhumane, logistically impossible, and stupid.
Logistically improbable.
Improbable.
Was that all your remarks?
Yes.
Yes, and that makes it 2 minutes.
It does, bang on, actually. James, a minute to defend your case.
Absolutely. I'm surrounded by naive, small worldview fools.
I like how
I'm
James...
not talking about fish tank here. My main argument hinged on the fact that we can use fish to, say, increase our algae, which will stop global warming with oxygen production. We can use the ocean and harness it in ways that we simply can't with dogs or birds. Like, the ocean is the biggest untapped resource that we have left. Who had 2 minutes to say anything?
You interrupted me.
Good point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that. So you talk to algae. How does that make more algae?
No.
Yeah, you're like encourage other animals to not eat them, and you dissuade them in other places. You use your words to manipulate them.
Listen.
Okay, it doesn't mean that.
Don't eat algae.
But
what can I
it's potentially more helpful than either of the other arguments, which are just pure entertainment. Mine's the only argument and only group that actually said trying to benefit mankind as a whole. These other two are for novelty's sake alone, and that is why it's not worth it. They're not as valuable.
Can I just say, not for the record, but James's argument hinges on the fact that he wants to reenact Finding Nemo scene where he says, fish are friends, not food. Like, you want to be able to convince animals to be like, why don't you stop eating fish and
Stop eating algae, guys. But that's all we've eaten for generations.
Okay, and then we go, all these other fish, this is where all the algae is that you eat. Eat all of them, and then bam, more algae. Boom.
It's kind of an anti-vegetarian movement for fish.
To save the world, unlike make your dog go.
I'm so
I like to
scared for you
car.
guys to come.
Oh yeah.
I'm also, can I just say, I had in mind when I offered that, and no one took up the case with you touched on the research purposes, but just talking to giant squid that have been to the deepest parts of the ocean where we rarely go.
Yeah, which I didn't bring up, so don't count that in my
No.
argument.
That's Jonah's
Half
argument. Jonah,
point
you
for
win.
me.
Yeah.
So Val, ready yourself for 2 minutes of criticism on why you want to talk to
My
birds.
anus is clenched.
I think we're going to have some arguments.
You want to create a world where we are screamed at perpetually from every angle by birds that we can understand. So rather than the beautiful sound of birdsong that you
Which
hear,
you can hear in the back of this podcast, you're
want
just
to
going to
be
hear
hearing,
conversation.
get out of my territory, get out of my territory. I have
Fuck
the biggest
me,
clue.
fuck me,
blah, blah, blah. Over and over again in a maddening din that will ruin our life. Birds are notoriously what they are. They are savage predators descended from dinosaurs. What good do they have to say? Don't shit on me, bird. I'm gonna do it.
With the other two groups of animals, like dogs barking isn't really a pleasant thing to hear anyway, so them talking is already going to be annoying. With fish, you can't really hear them.
Yeah.
But with birds, we constantly hear birds.
Yeah.
So if they were talking to each other in actual human conversation,
It would be
maddening.
You could, and it would just completely collapse the entire. Imagine this, yeah. You hear someone screaming help. You run to help them. Nope. Bird in a tree just saying help because it nearly
afraid
fell
of
off
heights.
because a crow came after it or something. The point is that suddenly all of the world is going to go to madness because we can't tell who's actually a human being in distress and who's a bird being harassed by another bird because they're screaming for bloody murder all the time because you see birds all the time getting into fights and just chasing one another and they're like help, 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 and like the police would be called, there'd be 999 calls all the time because people would be like, oh, it was just the birds in the trees, and then we get to a point where we're so deadened to this that there'll be someone getting stabbed in the street screaming help. You'd be there watching the TV going, birds.
Okay. And very, very quickly, also your whole idea of utilising them for things like package delivery. Surely, again, the only group that is already obedient, yes, you made your point that they might dissuade them from being obedient, but however, yours, you say to an eagle, can you carry this please? And it goes, no, and then flies off.
And they can't carry too much weight, birds. They can carry like a rabbit and drop it, But unless you want your like Amazon package to be dropped halfway up a mountainside by an eagle, and then to be disappointed that inside was a Bluetooth headset.
Well, that was by far the most savage.
I really enjoyed that. It was really
I
fun.
feel
You
like
have a minute to come back.
I feel like I'm awarding points for original arguments made, how they're defended, but I have to award points for the attack as well. I think between the two of them. So Val, you have a minute to come back from that.
So what my honourable friends have pointed out is that birds are keen communicators, which means that we are always hearing them.
Keen, constant communicators.
Keen, constant communicators, which means that this is a skill that is already developed in this species, something that's not as developed, perhaps some could say, with fish, which we can't hear, or dogs, which communicate primarily with like physical gesturing. Gesturing. So hearing
What is it,
and
boys?
being
Is it a
able,
crocodile?
hearing and being able to understand birds might be beneficial in being able to understand the environment, being able to understand what they're going for, and being able to connect with nature in a really amazing way. And you,
I'm hungry. There's the seeds. I found a seed.
James.
Give Val her last 10 seconds.
Oh fuck it, whatever. No, I'm not giving up, but it's just like great. Okay.
You've got nothing else? I'll give you 5 seconds because you've...
We could use birds for music, like I said. It does, just because they could speak doesn't mean that we wouldn't be able to help them make music.
Oh, I didn't get to
Get to the music bit.
No, I didn't get to raise the point which I wanted to say when we were attacking her about the fact that her point against the fish in fish tanks. Chickens on a farm. Chickens has been like, don't please don't kill me. Please don't kill me.
All this. The fact is that you're talking about using birds for music. If they could just speak our language, they're just singers. That we don't need them anymore. The whole fact that they make beautiful songs and you're taking that away from them, so they're just more people.
No, why would somebody, James? Just because we can speak doesn't mean that we can't make music. Just because they would be able to speak doesn't mean they can't still sing songs as they do now.
But giving anything the power to
guys,
speak.
It's
Guys,
I
we've
think
had our time.
The case they're making is like they just preferred their old work.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Now they're just like people.
Like I have to. This is more difficult to kind of to score. So I guess I'll give like cumulative.
Give us constructive feedback. What went well? Even better if.
No, give us a winner. I don't care about constructive feedback. Make me win.
Yeah, this is
someone win.
It's full suspense.
Yeah, no, I'm not here. I'm not here to tutor you on debate. I wouldn't know how, but Saul. To be fair, like dogs, I felt was the easier argument. But nonetheless, I feel like Saul, you made some. You made the reliable cases there. James, I feel like you missed some killer arguments for your fish. Val, granted, birds is a tricky one. I think the diversion into like package delivery, I could see where you were going, but like you even shot yourself in the you countered your own argument in that.
Which shows that I'm a balanced speaker.
When you're trying to persuade someone, like here's why I'm wrong, by the way. Oh god.
By telling me, just hand you this victory.
So I think Saul for the original pitch takes first there, and James second. When it comes to the attack, the two of you, like you did have, I'd say it like again, like birds being a difficult one to make the case for. Therefore, the attack is the easier one, but it was well coordinated. So I think that's what gets it points.
just for the audio listeners at home, because there isn't a camera, James and I actually shook hands before attacking.
I thought my argument of hearing fish die was really good.
Oh yeah, no,
But they die underwater. And besides, if they come up, they're not going to be able to speak to the suffocating. They're just going to go, much better than, please no, as the chicken gets ground up.
That's why my argument of having to be in water surely to hear a fish. Like, it would be very...
don't get me wrong. Like the attack on the fish argument, I think gets second place for the counter. And then in terms of defending rebuttals, I'm actually going to mark James down for immediately launching a personal slight against his opponents, which is a habit.
It is.
Like you didn't open with "you're wrong," you opened with "you're small-minded fool." Val, I think considering the viciousness of the attack directed your way, you did well.
Conducted yourself with honour.
You did well, but you flagged slightly towards the end. So I think overall, again, I think Saul rallied his defence the best with less foul play. I'm not saying James was bad at defence. I just think that we have to dock points for personal insults. in a civilised
If
debate.
this is the kind of argument culture we want to foster, then fine.
I'll tell you what, James. Next time we'll resolve this argument in the gladiator pit, and you can be as insulting as you like. So I think this round overall for best case made and best defence, and being part of best attack, I think Saul.
Congratulations!
I had the easiest one to argue. I really wanted birds. But then I'm
To be fair, if you
glad I
choose,
didn't.
I was going to pick mosquito as my answer.
I talk to it.
Stop them giving us malaria.
Again, you
What
can't
you
talk to an animal and persuade it. The whole idea is gathering information.
But you can try to stop the biggest killer of humans.
This is the mindset behind James's D&D characters. Like, if you have the charisma, you can achieve anything.
What's the other biggest killer
How
of
do you
humans?
charm a mosquito?
Humans.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah,
don't
we speak human.
Don't get me wrong. I put a hard 30 on that difficulty check, but some of James's bards, I reckon, could talk mosquito into not drinking blood.
Oh my god.
Should we, like, I don't want to like retroactively do away with any past victories, but for the new rules, for the official late shift debate club rules,
Saul is the first winner.
first victory to Saul.
See, I like this new method.
Yeah, because the tyranny of James's argument of just fucking talk over everyone until
Guys,
bad
but
time.
yeah, so you-
Limiting you by an amount of time is really useful.
The mass assault doctrine of
Yeah,
debate.
it's like the my tyranny is over because of your silly rules, rather than my just filibustering.
Basically.
I like that throughout, though, my team, the birds, have been serenading us with
Oh, yeah,
lovely birds.
Val,
You have to go back to this constituents and argue why you lost.
yeah, Val, despite it was in front of a home crowd.
Yeah.
No fish, no dogs.
And just like Casey, I fucking
Smacking
struck out.
tongues, they're applauding with their tongues.
Also, I'd like. There's a good reason why cat was not on the table, because we all know that even if cats could talk, and I suspect that they can, they wouldn't talk to us.
No, and it would accomplish nothing.
It's like, what do you want?
Yeah, it'd be like, look, now we can converse. I can tell you, don't shit on the carpet, and I can tell you, I'm still gonna do it.
Do you want to go outside right now? Yes.
And
the
no.
door's open.
I'm undecided. Open it anyway, and I'll make up my mind then. No, I don't want to.
Can I have some time to consider? How long? An hour. Just leave the door open.
Maybe it's because cats like just want to feel the weather. Like, I mean, bear with me. No, I mean, like they go up to the door and they're like, "Do I want to go outside? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know what the weather's like outside." You open the door and it's cold, and they're like, "Fuck that! I'm staying inside."
Yeah.
Like,
But then they'd want to try again.
Yeah.
maybe it's changed. They don't have weather apps,
And they don't really have
the-
that much time, like understanding of time. A lot of animals don't have the same, linear concept of time that we have. So then they're like, I should go check again because
Can
it
I-
could be different.
Yeah.
Can I take my point back? I would love to see a TV show of 6 months in the life of a goldfish. Like, I feel like there could be interesting stories there, even though it's in the fish
In the
tank.
one tank.
In the one tank.
Well,
Because
I
it
go to
sees
see the little
outside.
diver figurine. How are you today? Silently looks on.
All the other humans talk to me now.
He's
Yeah.
like, he does a confessional bit, and he's like, I think he's drowning.
I think goldfish. I forget about
What
goldfish.
Val? What your to draw a just to be clear, drawing a circle around Debatable here, and moving back to your regular scheduled programming. Val, what you're pitching here is a people watching program.
Yeah, I love reality
Goldfish,
TV shows.
which cares
Yeah.
about flakes of debris floating down from the
which
cervix.
wouldn't it?
Surface, not
Not
cervix.
the cervix.
So because,
Floating down from the cervix. Fish food.
but surely that would give us what reality TV shows are missing is the idea of perspective and the fact that problems that seem big to you are inconsequential to the fish. You getting
Or
your dick stuck in your zipper, no
but
big
the-
deal
or
for the
in
fish.
incomprehensible.
The most successful reality TV shows are ones that make a tiny molehill into a mountain
No, of
at the
course.
first opportunity. Having just some transcended ethereal watcher who gives no shits about mankind. It's like being like, oh, the world as told by Cthulhu. Oh, there's a world up there? Yeah, full of interesting, rich stories and tapestries. Would you like to experience it?
Yeah.
No! Like,
I really like the idea of the fish in the fish tank, the goldfish. However, the thing is, if you didn't have a human communicating with it, and it literally just left it in its own devices or just in a tank filming it, probably wouldn't speak apart from "I'm dead," and then just float to the top, and that would be like the season finale.
and to be fair, I would rather watch a goldfish silently swim around than actually put on Big Brother. But the point is that the whole point is that they get, like you say, for example, the reality TV is based on this. It's like, did you drink some of my milk? Yes, I did. I thought it was for the house. War in the Big Brother house. Who took the milk? And that kind of thing. The whole point is that they escalate it.
But also, there's the fact that you mentioned with the lifespan, like, because the lifespan is so much shorter, and I feel like our ethics would take a long time to catch up. You get to watch a fish go from
No, we
like,
need to
you
make
get
Big
to watch
Brother
it
longer
die.
until people die.
And also, can I point out that you would want to like
in a hospital bed, like,
I would love to
tell my family I love them.
Yeah,
Like,
you could have just left at any time. That's the rule.
I
of Big
guess
Brother.
he's
You could have
out
just-
by default.
You could have literally just said, "No, I'm done. I'm tired. I want to go home."
But this is the thing. On top of that, just remember, I would love to see a reality TV show that had all these arguments in, and then would frame them with much more like global concern and try to like make them as petty as possible. So it'd be like Chardy and whatever are having a fight today, and it cuts out and so this year 76,000 children will die in Syria. Their lives are one of hardship and brutality. And it cuts to that, and then it cuts back and goes, and these two people are arguing about macaroni. And they're just there like, you ate my macaroni.
the way cutting to the fish talking.
Yeah. What? Just telling you the tragedy of the human condition.
The way I think to achieve that is just to give money to save the children,
Yeah.
and like Oxfam, and then get them to buy out every ad slot between all the segments of Big Brother.
Yeah. So you're getting constantly like all these these horrible like tragedies going around on the planet, and it cuts right back to like, do you want a shag? No. Can't believe she rejected me again. Like even like Geordie
And
Shore
then
or
cut
something
just
like,
like-
I'm going out tonight. We're gonna get it on. Cuts back like, today 15 people will die of this disease in this area alone. And it cuts back like, I didn't get a shag, but I punched someone in the face. End of episode. I would like that.
But the GDP of this country is
Yeah.
low, and their minerals are exploited by Western capitalists for nefarious gains.
Yeah, and then Gates cuts back. I was smashed.
Back to the Smirnoff Ice and Apple sours, mate.
But imagine,
tea in my veins.
but imagine what
This
we would,
country has no clean water.
but imagine what we would do to the
Just Matt Damon there for
audiences.
water.
Yeah, do you think it would
But imagine what we would do
discourage
to the audiences, because we would go from these people that are so used to watching like Geordie Shore and subscribe to the lifestyle, and I mean there are people in our generation who love that stuff and may not necessarily look like the show or act like the show, but then we will end up with people who are avid watchers of Geordie Shore and hopefully also philanthropists and like social activists. So I think we should go with that.
Yeah.
Fish, the TV show.
No, Val, you're not shoehorning your idea.
Okay.
Well done. Val's the person on the creative board of Gremlins 2. I'm getting the titty gremlin in there, whether you like it or not.
And that means that next on we've got creepypastas.
Okay, so we have creepypastas once again. Are we all prepared?
Yeah.
This one is called All Fours.
All fours.
Yes.
As in, okay, cool. Like
I'm
the
on
number.
all fours or like all force?
You will find out, won't you?
Right, you're the worst spelling bee. Sorry, is it force or fours? You'll find out, won't you?
You're
If
right.
you get it right.
as in plural of four,
Oh, gotcha.
the number. I was reading an Ask Reddit question about paranormal experiences and was reminded of something that happened to me as a child. Although this event occurred 2 decades ago, I find it sufficiently creepy to share with you all! Exclamation mark.
Sufficiently creepy,
Yes.
as opposed to mediocre
Those
creepy pastas.
Those lackluster paranormal stories. It's like, and then I walked in and the ghost had eaten all my marmalade.
Turned out it was the cat.
But it could have been a ghost.
When I was 8 years old, I lived with my dad, stepmom, and 2 sisters,
That is pretty creepy.
aged 7 and 6, in a very large house.
Not four.
My dad and stepmom went away for the weekend and left us with a babysitter. She slept in our parents' room. And us as kids had a blanket fort / camp out in the living room.
Did you kick them out of their room just to assert dominance? Like, I sleep in your parents'
They
bed.
were having fun. They were like, look, your
Yeah,
parents
blanket
are
fort.
scary.
Started painting the inside, as is tradition.
Of course, the father went off to sell crude oil door to door.
She started shouting at herself for not fixing the light fixture in the corridor just to do the role play of mum and dad.
It was just
like-
flickering. Yeah.
She's like, why do you always work so much? You never get to spend time with the kids.
Okay.
She's just doing like full role play.
In the middle of the night, I heard a weird sound. Something scraping against the wooden floors in the hall. Our house had no carpet,
except in the bedrooms. All of the halls, how big is this house? And common areas had wood floors. We had 2 dogs at the time, a golden retriever and a chocolate Labrador. So when they ran around, they made a hell of a lot of noise. But this was not one of their familiar sounds. It was too slow and purposeful. Something else was trudging along inside the house.
I know what it is. The babysitter is dating an ex-sailor, and he's got a wooden, like...
How old is
Very
the
easy
sailor?
to confuse with dogs moving around. You know? That's the thing about peg leg. It makes you sound like you have 4 legs.
No, it's a scraping sound.
The story is saying it doesn't sound anything like dogs.
Oh yeah, good point. So it could be.
So the slow
2 wooden legs.
scraping
I'm
sound.
back from me voyage.
because apparently this sailor that like lost his leg, and they just thought, yeah, let's forget modern prosthetics, but let's just go for wooden legs.
He's a hipster.
Well, so
He's
far...
a hipster.
Peg leg me.
I like how the idea of hipsters is not like, oh, they look like homeless. It's like, no, they look like old sailors.
They look like veterans of old expeditions. Haggard-looking beards, missing legs.
Well, to
The old timey shit.
scurvy.
You know the folded up arm sleeve where your arm's missing, and they're like, "This is the new look right now." The Admiral Nelson eye patch.
Well, to be fair, like, babysitting is not the best paid job in the world, so we can
He's not
assume...
paying for his...
No. I'm saying that we can assume that she doesn't come from a very rich background, which means that maybe her boyfriend also comes from a similar kind of situation where maybe he can't afford really sophisticated prosthetics. And also, I'd like to point out that in this story, they never mentioned anything relating to a time period. It's houses have existed for a long
He
time.
said
so
Reddit at the start.
Maybe the boy he said as a child. Maybe the boy is now.
He also
an
said
old
a couple
man.
of decades ago. So from a couple of decades ago, from let's say the beginning of Reddit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say there's
There's
nautical themed where prosthetic legs were wooden.
Oh, she's waiting for me back home. Oh, what, your missus? Yeah, she's a babysitter. That doesn't immediately fill me with confidence.
Not
Okay.
like an Arctic expedition either. This guy just works the ferry.
Yeah. Lost me leg to a runaway Land Rover.
So I imagine some horrific creature with a rotting skin and flimsy little legs lurking up and down the halls of our home, poking its head in and out of rooms, searching for a child to snatch and whisk it away into the night.
Not quickly on its flimsy little legs.
No, this is just something that he's imagining.
It's a morbid imagination.
My stepsister slept through the noise. I listened for a long time, then finally got the courage to investigate. I climbed out of my blanket fortress and grabbed the flashlight of the bar counter. I walked around the ground of the floor of the house, looking for the source of the scraping sound. The ground floor of our house was comprised of 4 long hallways that made a square. The kitchen and living room were at one end.
What is this house an arena?
Is there a courtyard in the middle?
I'm picturing it like the Colosseum of Rome, that it has this one like track that runs around
Yeah,
and a central amphitheatre for violence.
The kitchen and
It's a Roman villa.
Yeah.
The kitchen and living room were at one end, and at the other there was that stupid room with all the nice furniture that nobody was ever allowed to sit in.
A drawing room?
It's like, it's a rich people
Sorry,
thing.
is he Harry Potter? Where it's like you're not allowed in the living room.
It's
You have to live in the cupboard.
Did he say it's a rich people thing you won't understand?
No, it's a rich people thing from my parents' generation. As I reached the off-limits living room, I saw something move past the piano at the far side of the room.
Dobby!
Master gave Dobby a shock! It moved into the adjacent hallway. The scraping sound resumed. I hurried over, flashlight in hand, trying not to trip
You're not
over
allowed in
anything.
there.
You're a brave child. Now, hear me out. As a child, you hear a spooky sound, okay? Because obviously this person's trying to pose it as like it actually happened to them. You're a kid. You're a child who enjoys blanket
8 years old.
flops.
8
Yeah,
years old.
8 years old. You got a flashlight, you hear a spooky noise that really scares you. I can believe a child has the courage to try and investigate that. But when you shine your torch and see movement and hear the sound continuing, you wouldn't be like, this is time for Timmy to step up to the plate. There's a boogly in the house.
Into the arena.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
lured him.
yeah.
We kited him into the arena
Get
in the middle of the house.
buddy. No, you'd be like, even if it was a cat, the kid would scream and run off in a puddle of his
Yeah.
own urine.
Yeah, and go under the blanket, because everybody knows that blankets are like shields. They'll protect
Especially
you
when
from
you have a
anything.
Okay.
It's going to be like the Siege of Gondor. Come at me, boogly.
As I rounded the corner into the hall, I saw our golden retriever, Bear, walking through the darkness on his hind legs.
Ew.
You know how
Good day, sir.
you know how sometimes
Talking dogs.
Oh, bear is its name. I thought.
It was a bear.
No, I thought BARE.
Oh, like you shaved his legs.
it's just a naked dog.
That's why I said ew.
I wanted to be like the humans.
You know how sometimes when a dog jumps up on you and you grab his front paws and kind of help him stand? It looked like someone was doing that to our dog, but there was nobody there. I watched Bear stagger 4 to 5 steps on his back. His back facing me. When he noticed my light, he fell onto all fours and wagged his tail, then resumed walking like a dog normally walks. He trotted away from the stairs to the second floor, like nothing strange was going on.
Is this Cats vs. Dogs, that film with Jeff Goldblum? Where it's like, rumbled? The humans are aware.
The weirdest thing was...
Initiating exterminators on this household.
The weirdest thing was, when I was laying in my blanket fortress earlier, I listened to the scraping sound for a good 5-10 minutes before deciding to investigate. The dog was walking around in the darkness for that long, on his hind legs, in slow circles around the house. To this day, I have never figured out why. He never did it before, and he never did it again after that night, but he did apparently freak out the babysitter too. The next morning, she told me that he pushed the door... He pushed the door open to my parents' bedroom, went over to the bed and started making vocalizations that sounded like he was trying to mimic human speech. He did this for several minutes before she locked him out of the room, and looked pretty rattled the next day when he talked. When
he talked, when you had a babysitter.
I have learned. Rattled the next day when we talked. It's probably not a coincidence that as an adult, I'm a cat person. As in, he didn't turn into a cat.
I like the idea that the story is part of a Tinder description. Like,
So swipe right if you like cats, not dogs. I mean, it was an interesting enough. Yeah, it wasn't as offensive as most creepypastas I found.
Yeah, I'd say the idea is probably more original than some we've seen before.
Yeah.
I just like the description of the rich person's house. Like,
It's
past
a
the
rich people
piano
thing.
in the 4 hallwayed house.
Past the gaggle of servants, desperate to please.
But what I don't understand is
My
how
dad has a big house, but it doesn't have 4 halls.
It doesn't have the room you're allowed, the display room.
Yeah. But what I don't understand, right? Because he walks into the drawing display room and he says that he sees the thing move away. Now, Labradors are quite tall, especially to if it was standing up on its hind legs, and to a child, it wouldn't be something that you would miss. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's too big a shape.
And also, it wouldn't be moving that quick.
It wasn't like
It would lurch. It would lurch out like stop motion from the 50s. You know, it wouldn't be like a ghost dog.
Yeah.
I think it's not that creepy. I think it's cute. The dog's like, I want to be human.
It reminds me of that.
maybe it was a human.
Reminds me of that.
It's never explained because creepypastas never explain anything.
Do you remember that
Oh, like
video
Full Metal Alchemist.
with the child where they're like, say mama, mama.
Sorry, Jonah, don't bring
Jonah.
out Full Metal.
How dare you?
Oto-san. What did I say that one was called?
All fours.
All fours.
Ah, yeah, it was All Fours.
It should have been called Two Legs.
It wasn't even on All Fours.
Yeah, it should have been called Two Legs.
Maybe more.
Two Legs.
But I did like that one actually had a title as well that didn't just...
Yeah, give it away.
Explain.
Where
Yeah,
it was
give it
just like the story about the ghost that also looked a little bit like Bernie Sanders.
I like...
Okay, I would like to point out right now...
That wouldn't be scary. Bernie Sanders is a welcoming presence in
Yeah,
most
it's scary
places.
to America. And imagine this. Yeah, you're at night in your Stars and Stripes. You've got your NRA license to one side. your AR-15 death cannon for home defense. You're sitting there, rocking back and forth, and you hear socialism on the window. Oh my god! You pull out your M2 frag grenade. You're ready to go. You're ready to defend your house. You can't kill a ghost. You're
bear out the
firing. You're
shadows.
firing. The NRA promised you could defend your house if you just brought the mega Gatling gun. You're spraying the house apart. The
Your
ghost of
children are
Bernie
dead.
Sanders still there. The bullets are passing right through it. America is failing. Liberty is failing. You can't. It's just. Oh no! Thank you. You go and get into M2 Abrams tank.
Oh, Jesus Christ, okay.
He's just there like murmuring the inevitable dialectic.
Yeah.
No tuition fees.
There was one that I did find which annoyed me so much. It was just called My Dead my dead granddad removed me as a friend on Facebook.
So you get,
But I'm not. The thing is, because that's the thing. Like, no, exactly. Like, one, it was a really long title. I saw that and thought, gold mine, perfect. And I read through this, and it wasn't short. And it got to the end, and it just was extremely vague. Pretty much like the person just didn't know where it was going, and kind of just went.
You know what? I'm happy to see.
I'm calling shade on that person. For
I'm
right
happy.
now.
Who you haven't named.
I wasted. No, because I was completely. I think I just got so angry. I was fuming for the fact that I had wasted a lot of time reading creepypastas, but that one in particular really, really made me irate because it was no payoff to nothing. It was pretty much how it just faded away.
Did the title do more than the story itself?
Basically, the whole premise and how it ended was his grandma was still talking to his granddad even though he's dead.
I'm glad to see that Stephen Moffat writes creepypastas.
He tries them out before he makes
He
them.
has no idea how to do it, and he just kind of tampers off at the end and just goes, "It's all a dream, the power of love." Sherlock.
No. This one ended basically saying with like the guy finding out that his grandma's talking to his dead granddad, and then he just basically said, "So I've come to Reddit to ask if there's any advice."
Of all places.
Yeah, because I don't know what to do now. I'm like,
I'd be like, well, whoever's got a hold of your granddad's account is clearly flirting with your grandma, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's not spook 'em, it's just some guy from
you
probably
better
Belarus.
hope she's not sending him naked photos that you might see later.
oh god.
That's like me doing a creepypasta called, like, My Mother Was Catfished. My mum, after the divorce, wasn't the same, but she started talking to Robbie online. Turns out, 13-year-old girl.
Okay, so the next one.
Not a heart surgeon from Connecticut.
The next one.
Yes.
This is called the Coreus worm. Do you know what the Coreus worm is?
No.
The doctor doesn't look at me as he asks the question. He scratches at the beard on his chin and turns the MRI printout over in his hands. He won't make eye contact with me. I shiver in my flimsy hospital gown. I hear the tone.
Mine made of paper mache.
I hear the tone in his voice and wonder if this is how I know I'm already dead. I just haven't been diagnosed yet.
Why did they specify the beard on his chin?
He's scratching.
As opposed
I
to
only
where else
scratch
does he
my
have a
beard
beard?
when someone's going to die.
Exactly.
The beard in his cupboard. He just opens.
But Tom, this is my bad news beard. I'm a paediatrician.
Okay. The doctor. The Coreus worm is native to Malaysia, he tells me. Have you been outside the country recently? He asked. I lie.
Why?
This seems like a weird time to... No, I haven't left the country.
I've been in
Well,
this
you've got
office
the
this
worm
whole
from
time.
Malaysia, so...
No, I've stayed.
Have you
I've
ever
stayed put.
Have you ever pleasured yourself with a Buzz Lightyear action? Like, no. Well, it's in your rectum, so...
There's a parasite.
I'm a doctor.
There's a parasite, he tells me, that gets into an ant's body. It crawls into the ant's brain and takes over. The ant walks up to the tip of a tall piece of grass and waits, night and day, until eventually a grazing cow comes along and eats it. Also that the parasite can reach the cow's digestive system and lay its eggs. The ant doesn't know it's being controlled, it simply feels compelled to go where it's told. It doesn't even try to escape from its death.
Is the doctor gonna eat the boy?
I don't want to...
Is he the cow in this?
I don't want to alarm people here, but using ants as like a... I can't believe this ant went willingly to its death. Ants, when they lose the pheromone trail, will mosh pit till they die. As a species, they're not usually ones that care too much about themselves. You know, it's not like the dog sat there and just waited to die. Ants' entire being is like, for the queen, for the colony. Like,
And also
all they do is die.
They live for purpose.
and they are often victim to a brain control fungus.
Yeah, cordyceps.
He tells me this as disaffectedly as though it were nothing more than an interesting episode of Animal Planet. Fun fact, at the doctor's office, he clears his throat and looks down at the MRI. The Coreus worm, he goes on, can only survive inside human hosts. It perfectly adapts.
And why is it interesting being eaten by cows?
You will go to a blade of grass.
He-
Sit down and let a
he-
cow eat you.
Yeah, that's really weirdly written. Yeah, because the other parasite that controls an ant's brain is completely different. He's just saying that the Coreus worm is similar, he goes on, but can only survive inside human hosts. It's perfectly adapted to us, but its eggs can live almost anywhere. They can be found in uncooked meat, salad greens, they can live in fresh and salt water, even in poisonous brine pools. They can transmit through sex.
Okay.
So having
You're-
sex with a
you're-
brine pool will give me this worm.
No, I imagine it's like, your penis is quite small. Quite worm-like.
quite briny.
And it just shooting eggs out of it.
I mean...
Oh, God. The Doctor lists these things off one by one as though...
As you scroll down the Wikipedia.
I feel like it's more like WebMD at this point.
The
They
Doctor,
also give you cancer, by the way.
the Doctor lists these things off one by one as though trying to work a confession out of me. I did go aboard. No, he didn't. Only once the eggs are in the human, he continues, do they hatch. Once the worm is inside the body, it carefully lays its eggs on the brain stem. Then it works its way into the brain. It settles between the membrane to take over. Everything you do, everything you think, are just products of chemicals and electrical impulses.
This is why he lied. The worm made him do it.
The worm is...
Not a very clever worm. Did you go to Malaysia?
No.
No, I did not, and I did not pick up the glorious brain worm from there.
Do you think the worm's
That's
going to
my
make
thought.
him...
That's my individual
Also,
thought.
so that surely if there's a worm controlling him, he wouldn't make the host go to a doctor to get an MRI scan.
Maybe
You should go for an MRI scan and reveal the worm's entire global
maybe it's-
agenda.
Why? If everything's being controlled, why would you just be like,
Yeah.
oh,
Why is he not just up a tree waiting to like just get eaten
Maybe
by
it's
whatever
the
eats
joy
humans?
of... Maybe it's the joy of being caught. It's kind of like, you know how serial killers will like have that
Because
desire.
parasites are notorious for that. I can't wait to get caught.
What are you gonna do, motherfucker? It's too late.
I'm
Do you
already
think-
here.
Do you think the worm's gonna make him like really fond of spelling?
Wait,
Like,
I love how this
Is
person
this
plays.
why we have the flu? Like just the common cold virus likes getting caught.
No, I do enjoy the fact that this entire creepypasta is basically someone's fan fiction for the game Plague Incorporated, where they were playing as the Neurax worm. But
yeah,
continue.
basically.
Yeah.
The worm is intuitive to these things. It quickly learns how to operate your body, which nerves to pull, what strings. It learns to make you do what it wants. But the worm doesn't want your body. It wants your soul. No. It wants you. All your memories, all your mannerisms, just neurological chemicals triggered in your brain. The worm learns these things. It responds to your memories. It thinks your thoughts. It unconsciously does all the things you unconsciously do. After a while, the worm believes it is you. It has complete control of who you are. Every night when you close your eyes, the worm reaches the end of its life cycle and dies. And every night, another one of its eggs hatches, and a new worm crawls in to take its place.
It has to do that entire process all over again.
how inefficient.
Yeah, silly worm.
30 eggs a month.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Every
What if you nap in the afternoon? It's like an early death. Oh no. I was expecting at least like 18 hours of runtime.
The best thing is that this worm made you nap.
yeah, they're like,
I'm tired. Kill me.
you just get one of the worms in the batch, which is severely depressed.
But we've all done that, like when we've first tried to learn a video game, where we've just been like, "Oh, what does this button do?" It's just like
Nap. Kill self.
Okay, every night when you fall asleep, you die.
I reckon Saul's got worms in him. Because that explains
Yeah, but not
why
in my
he-
brain. That's
why he never
I keep
sleeps.
scratching myself along the carpet. Every night when you fall asleep, you die. And every morning, a new creature wakes up your body, even if you don't know the difference. I can feel something horrible crawling in the pit of my stomach. And that's
No, in your brain.
Yeah.
That worm got lost.
he's just remembering.
It's not pleasant grey matter. This is acid.
A sickening feeling. I don't want to hear what he's saying. The doctor holds up a picture of my MRI and asks if I can see anything wrong with it.
Do you lie again?
She's like, "I'm not a real doctor. You've called
Ah,
me here
yes.
to cosplay."
That is the amygdala. That giant big worm sitting in the middle of your head with a big face on is an amygdala. That is what the worm tells. That is what I think.
No, I tell him, feeling relieved. It just looks like a picture of a normal human brain to me. No worm. The doctor shakes his head. Your eyes, he tells me, are just sending signals down to your nerves. It's your brain that decides what you see, not your eyes. Your brain only sees what the worm wants you to see. Everyone else can see in this MRI a thin white strand, like a single long piece of spaghetti, crawling over and over inside your skull. Everyone else but you.
Wait, so it said specifically that the worm devours who you are and takes over, and then it's there like, but you can't see. Surely this doctor would be there like, there is no you, only worm.
Yeah,
it's inconsistent.
But another thing is that they specify that the worm thinks that it's the person.
Yeah.
So how can the worm be aware of what it looks like from
To
the
deceive
outside
itself.
to deceive itself?
Yeah.
Also, don't forget that
Dun,
this
dun,
is the
dun,
worm that
dun,
went.
dun, dun, dun.
This is also the worm that forced the guy to go to a hospital to get
Yes.
himself checked out.
Oh yeah, it's a particularly.
What
slow one.
symptoms was this guy showing that thought I need to go to a hospital? Like maybe the worm's sick.
He's dead.
Inside
Worms
the brain.
keep falling
What
out
the
of
hell
the
is talking
nose.
about the
Worm
worm's sick?
flu.
Like, yeah, the worm's there. Like, I'm not feeling well. I feel like I'm going to die if this man sleeps.
Perhaps I should go get checked out.
Have you got any cocaine?
He's sick with like an existential
What
crisis.
did the doctor study him for? Surely he's completely normal. He walked into the office and was like, how are you feeling? Normal.
MRI.
No.
MRI immediately.
MRI me, please.
It's a really early morning appointment because it's like an emergency appointment, and he walked like the character from the game QWERTY, if you remember, where like you can't really.
Yeah. Because
He was like MRI,
and he just got better and better at being a person in the same kind of 10-minute session where it's like, I have a lot of human feelings and I feel quite fine actually.
Normal people go to the doctor on a daily basis.
Hello, fellow incubator. I am. Like looks his hand. Tony. Yes, and I like baseball. And the person's like, I think he's having a stroke. Better MRI him. And then by the time we got in there, like nothing wrong with me. No worm-related problems going into the machine.
Okay, guys.
So what happens? He's just like he went to hospital too early in the day. Like an extra half an hour drinking coffee, the worm would have had it sussed.
Yeah.
Whereas he was there like at his breakfast table, like with cold water, just not having done this.
Wait, guys, we're forgetting a bit. We're forgetting the bit that the worm also gets past to other humans by reproduction. So like imagine like early morning sex, and like the worm's there still trying to figure out how to have sex. So like teenagers still trying like
It just kind of
I don't
starts
know about
spitting
you,
into
but, like-
his hand and offering it, and like, this it?
it's like imagine how clunky humans are, like learning how to have sex. Let alone a worm trying to control a human. Just like it's like
It must spend the first like hour of its day not able to get out of bed.
Tony,
Just,
Tony.
like trying to figure
Tony,
out.
it's not erect yet. It's not erect. Stop trying rating at me. Just like
Humans do the thrust motion, and you are a human. Would you like an egg? I mean,
just the one. He's lying. He must be lying. I'm not sick. I tell him.
to myself, the worm.
I'm not sick. I tell him. He nods in agreement. Yes, you're not sick. You mental.
I was
bum.
joking. April Fool.
That was actually a piece of spaghetti that fell onto the machine.
It was my lunch. No. I often eat my spaghetti in the MRI machine.
The technician, like,
So Margaret can't steal it because she's always judging me because we said we'd go on this diet together. So I'm forced to eat my spaghetti in the MRI machine.
I love the idea of the man just head in the MRI, just pouring spaghetti into his mouth and then just pushing the button. Well, no, someone would have to be there to push the button.
Are you sure this
out.
is going to give me extra credit on my school? Yes. Film the effects on spaghetti on the human brain.
No, he says, I'm not. That's weirdly worded, because that sounds like the doctor now. The worm doesn't want me sick. Why is the doctor... Oh, God, please, can you be consistent with your writing? Stop switching between the doctor saying things and you saying things. The worm doesn't want you sick, it should be. It needs my body to survive. It won't do anything to jeopardize its host. It's the perfect parasite. It will keep you alive. Now it's switched. Oh! Walking around pretending to be normal for as long as it is possible.
Yeah, pretending to be normal, Mr. QWERTY.
Egg. Just to ram people on the street. Would you like to have intercourse with me so I may transmit the glorious worm?
I mean, to be honest, as parasites go, this one's not that bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You could have the shit.
This one's so
Instead,
vague.
this one just makes every day feel like a new day. Makes it feel exciting. And
Well,
cool.
no, not even that, because you can't tell.
Yeah,
the difference.
exactly. You can't tell the difference.
It will try to keep the truth from you to stop you from trying to destroy it.
Despite killing you and being you.
And also go to doctors again.
Yeah.
In theory, your body can live a long, healthy life. And
I get bombarded by magnetic
How many
radiation.
times has he
And
been to the
no one-
doctor?
Yeah, and no one, not your friends or your family or even your lovers, need to ever know the difference.
No, your lovers might.
Yeah.
Worm for you too. We will be worms together. Okay, like
I guess
John.
it's like a hive mind.
Yeah. Who knows? This guy
So,
was just there like.
so the next
Look.
one that's hatched, like
No,
how animals in the wild.
They couldn't be a hive mind because They have their own identities.
Yeah, no. But I mean, like,
and they get
you don't
confused
change.
to think they're people.
No, but I'm saying like you as a person don't change. But I'm saying the fact that like you know how like in the wild, animals like turtles when they hatch they immediately head towards the ocean. There's something in their genetics that they know. So maybe I'm giving benefit of the doubt for this parasite that it hatches immediately knows how to take control of a body. Done. But the worm can't be removed. Once it's settled into the position in your brain, only it and its offspring will ever live inside your head ever again. You will die, whatever part animates you. Your will, your soul, your spirit. The worm kills it. Once the parasite takes over the person, Once the parasite takes over the person, will quietly... Oh no, it's just badly written. Over the person you were... Once the parasite takes over, the person you were will quietly slip away one night, and the next morning the worm will open your eyes and everything will be normal again. It will be painless, you won't even notice yourself dying. I don't know what to say to that. What can I say? Finally, with a dry throat and a scratchy voice, I asked the doctor, how long will it be? How long do I have to do something before the worm kills me? The doctor looks at me. There's pity in his eyes, and sympathy, but also revulsion, disgust. As though he weren't looking at a patient, as though he's looking at a horrible alien creature behind my eyes. I'm afraid you don't understand, he says.
Would have been cooler if it said, I'm afraid you don't understand. This is your 50th time coming to me this month, or something like that. Like,
why does
something
keep going? Also, if this worm is transmitted via sexual reproduction and is eating people's brains, do you not think the doctor has like a duty of care to be like, I hate to tell you this, but you need to be quarantined and destroyed for the sake of all of humanity. Not like, I hate to tell you this, Jimmy, but you're a worm. You're a worm boy. Go out, be a worm boy.
We might all be worms.
Also doesn't ask...
Scan me.
Also doesn't ask...
Let's be worms together.
There's just like
Ambiguous worms that may or may not be us. And we
let's
may
be
or not
worms
be them.
together, so they're just like humping in the MRI.
Again, the intern. Are you sure this is going to give me extra credit? Shut up. Record this.
You're next.
Everyone to see.
You're next to be
They
worm.
do that, where they do like ECG readings and MRI scans of like pleasure during sex. So there's probably researchers out there who are watching two people have sex in an MRI machine, scanning the brains to see the effect that sex has on the brain.
Yeah, that's definitely a piece of research.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really fucking weird story.
I know, right?
I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's very normal for worms and humans.
But
to
the thing is,
coexist.
I think the idea,
we should all try it.
the concept there was good.
Sex
But
in
at the
one?
end of the day, if you act completely normal and no one knows the difference, then
Again, how does the doctor know to MRI you?
Yeah.
Essentially, it's similar to that, the argument of are we living in a simulation or
Yeah.
whatever. It's
or
like,
are we all controlled by worms?
if it doesn't change anything, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's also very hard to detect. As I said, it's like, oh, it completely takes over. You wouldn't know. It's like if he'd established he'd had like an accident that caused him to be MRI because of a fear of concussion or something. That would be when it makes sense they discovered the worm. But the idea that he just walked in and was like, I am a normal human being, healthy as can be. Okay, would you like to have sex? Pardon? Or maybe you would like a sip from this brine cup I have given you.
But maybe that kind of blind confidence is really attractive to people, because
Maybe the doctor was like, let's actually have sex in the MRI. I really want to do this. And then he was like, wait a sec. The worm? What about the worm?
Anyway,
Okay, last one.
So the last one I've got. So classic creepypasta of title. What my son's toy says after the batteries die. Is the title of this
Oh
one.
my god! It's like creepypastas don't seem to understand the idea of like a title,
Technology.
a working title. It's like Snakes on a Plane. It's like the film where the clown comes and eats people. Are we going to change that title? Of course we are. It's a ridiculous title. It's not going to be the title of our film. Cuts the creepypasta offer. The clown that kills people and eats them. What a great title!
I don't know what I was thinking when I bought the plush monkey that could talk and gave it to my 6-year-old. Other than I wanted the boy to cause a ruckus in my house. He pushed the button on the back so many times that I memorised the 4 factory phrases. Give me a banana. There was also a Wilhelm-esque scream. And a Tarzan yelp.
Why is the screaming there? It's like
For throwing it downstairs.
yeah, but it's a 1 in 4 chance. Like, I'm gonna get it now. You throw it down the stairs and it just goes, I want a banana. And another time, she's like, I love you, monkey. It's like a yin yang of phrasing. It's like if Woody, if you put it, there's a snake in my boot. They put it again like, life is misery, end it all.
My Woody that you pulled the back off, one that like it still works. My Woody is one of the first ones that I ever released after Toy Story.
Wait,
one it still
who
works.
pulled the back off it?
No. I mean, no. It's got.
I thought you meant that
just like the Woody. In,
someone had blood eagled it.
No. It's got the chord.
Yeah.
And I know all of the phrases of it just like off by heart.
Is there one of them a Wilhelm scream that we just scare you?
No. That's the one that only happens when the batteries die.
Yeah.
It just goes. Anyway, I thanked God when the batteries finally died on that goddamn thing.
I mean, I feel like it's not beyond the kind of box of tricks that parents resort to on their own children just to sneak the batteries out and go, oh no, did monkey break? And it's like, it killed the fuck out.
Oh, silly mum, put monkey in the furnace.
Not in the Arga.
No.
We're not pretentious.
The most amazing thing was that my son did not come crying to me to replace the batteries, seeming content to just drop it and walk away. When I stooped to pick up the plush animal to put back into the toy bucket, a tiny speaker in the hard plastic box warbled, "Do you remember when I used to be your son?" I immediately dropped the monkey on the floor and poked it with my foot once before picking it up.
That's Black Mirror season 4, right?
Yeah. Charlie Brooks is like, genius.
I pushed the button on its back.
They
Nothing.
had that. A monkey was contained.
A human soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, when was this written? Oh, it doesn't say.
Fucking Charlie. You know Charlie fucking stole this idea. You know
No,
Charlie's on
I'm
this
thinking more
creepy
about this
message.
is pretty much just ripping off Black Mirror.
And not even good Black Mirror, like...
Like American Black Mirror.
So nothing. Still, I was sure I heard it say those words. I called my son over to me and asked him if he had ever heard the monkey say anything weird. He was like, yeah, just keep screaming at me.
1 in 4 times, screams in my face.
She comes up to your son and asks her that, and then he goes, "I want a banana."
Yeah, so you got the 4.
The son just goes,
Just walks off. Just like, what have I done?
that'd have been amazing.
Yeah.
Oh.
guys,
My son is a birthday card.
Would you send him to school?
Oh, yeah. What? So, does anyone know what the answer to this maths question is? I want a banana!
It's actually give me a banana. It's more
actually-
impolite.
Yeah. Give me a banana. Yeah, it's really forceful.
But I would love the idea to sort of like I love the idea that this kid actually gets through life. Like just with the 4 phases and like on his wedding day, you know, they're like, do you take her to your hand in marriage? Give me a banana.
And then they look over and they're like, that means I do. It's got a translator, like.
Right.
His social work.
The social workers kind of worked out what the 4 phrases kind of mean.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the Wilhelm scream just means
Means no.
means joy.
I called my son over to me and asked him if I've ever heard the monkey say anything weird. That's when the boy's face lit up with fear and excitement.
Very strange. Like a 16-year-old boy about to lose his virginity. He's like, can't believe this is happening. I'm worried I'm not going to perform well.
Says the worm.
Will I manage to incept my eggs this time? You're actually speaking out loud.
As if I had uncovered something he had been wanting to talk to me about. My son took the monkey into the laundry room and turned on the dryer, putting the monkey on top of it, so he can't hear us.
Why not put it in the dryer?
He wouldn't say a word until he led me outside. I'd never seen him like this before. When we were standing on the backyard, the boy said, "Sometimes it says very bad things to me. It says it wants to hurt us, Daddy. I was too scared to talk to you, not when it could hear us. You've got to break it. You've got to get in there and smash it." I wanted my son to learn patience and logic.
He already hates the
I was going to say, I hear what you're saying, son, but I would like to read to you an excerpt from Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
The patient man is the rewarded man.
And that meant not destroying an inanimate object just because of fear. I explained that we both heard a voice that was something... I explained
And
that
again, yeah, it's not like your son's been like, come to you and like, well, that's crazy child shit. You've been eating strong cheese before you went to bed or something. It's like, no, I heard the monkey say something creepy.
I
Only
explained,
batteries in it, and I hate the monkey to start off with.
I explained that we both heard a voice. There was someone at the factory playing a prank. And we both...
Got no power.
and we both need it for evidence. Take him to court, mate.
Yeah. The creepy monkey.
How
On trial.
Yeah.
It's like, I used to be your son. It just looks over to the kid.
Exhibit A, my obviously deranged son.
I promise he wasn't like this before I bought the topic.
Yeah. The judge just there like, small claims court is often not rewarding, but this story is gold. The Build-A-Bear factory messed up my son.
like a Judge Judy.
Yeah.
But the fear in the kid's eyes and words made it clear this wasn't a matter for courts.
Seriously? Seriously going to take a stuffed toy to court?
No, son. You must be brave. We are going to court over this.
You're my star witness.
What? And can you imagine how that case ends? And the Build-A-Bear company refunds the £12 to the claimant.
I think that's what the issue is. That's why the dad's like, you have to learn patience, because he's like, I spent a good amount of money on this fucking toy. Because there's nothing as heartbreaking as when you think somebody's really going to like their present and they'll give a shit.
Yeah.
And children
Junior
are like
Scrabble.
Junior Scrabble.
Yeah.
Junior Scrabble.
Your dad, they're like, James, be polite. Act like you care. Every time.
Yeah. 3 sets of Junior Scrabble.
We'll put in the
Isn't
anecdote.
enough.
All of the letters that
After
we'll
Creepy
have.
Bastards, we'll go over the anecdote.
It can rig the odds in your favour. It's like, that hasn't worked. I've got 6 X's.
Right.
Hey, you.
When we opened the door to the laundry room, the monkey had moved from the top of the dryer to the bottom of the door. My son shrieked. Wilhelm screamed. No.
Yeah, but the dryer was on, so it could have vibrated and thrown the monkey
Even
off.
as I tried to explain that, it probably just fell off the dryer because it was shaking.
I'm a good dad.
Yeah, you're a good dad. I wouldn't have bought a shitty toy.
What's going to point out? Dad, this toy terrifies me. Now, I'm a good father, and I'm going to force you to endure this.
Yeah.
No,
Isn't that what your dad did to you?
No, because no.
And I'm a totally normal
He said-
human being, Jonah.
He said he realised. He said that he realised that the kid was scared.
Yeah.
When we opened the door of the laundry room, he moved, and the son shrieked. Even as I tried to explain, they just fell off the dryer because of shaking. That's when the monkey eked out a long, drawn-out, moaning cry like nothing we ever heard before.
It was a re. You know it was a re. You know.
My son shouted for me to stop it, and the lower part of my brain kicked in.
What, the bit that can, right at the back, the bit that controls your heartbeat and breath. Like, oh, that was bad. I nearly died.
I brought my boot. I brought my booted foot down on that plastic box inside the monkey, crushing it against the laundry room's concrete floor. Something reddish black, not blood, not oil, but something pungently organic and toxic leaked out from the seams of the plush monkey. You should have listened to your son. Now you are alone, said the boy behind me. I swear, I turned to see something large and old, like the last orange ember of once great fire sparking from behind my son's innocent eyes. The boy turned and bolted towards the front door, running faster than I ever could. The thing that hid inside the monkey piloted my son... Oh my god. Sorry. The thing that hid inside the monkey piloted my son like a champion. Rocketing him into the darkness where the street lamps couldn't reach, cackling the kind of love that only comes from the novel joy of having fresh lungs and new legs again. I never saw my son again.
A common sound.
I never saw my son again, but on some nights I can still hear him laugh.
Can I point out that story would have been way more payoff if the first thing the monkey had said was, I'm going to give the game away here, I'm your son.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to say, well done.
What was the name of that story?
The thing
What my son's toy says after the batteries die. That was the title.
I was so lame.
And it's by
You know what
I am Howard Moxley. So I'm calling you out, Howard Moxley. That was incredibly funny.
But the thing is that the title of the story reminds me of how our parents like caption their photos when they post them on social media.
Yeah.
Because they don't quite get that you don't need to describe everything in it. It's not like a historical source.
Me and my beautiful sister standing just before the Tower of Pisa. It was a good time had by all.
Yeah, that's
cheers,
genuinely
Mum.
the descriptions.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that our parents require so much more context to understand memes? Like, if you show them like a...
It's because they haven't been raised on them. They've
No,
been
I know.
From the fountain
No, but I mean, like,
to
say for
memedom.
instance, it's a funny video of somebody, I don't know, falling over. My mum needs to know why they're there, who
Why
it
they
is,
hurt,
who
yeah.
sent me the video, do I know what happened afterwards, did that person go on to be married and have children? Like, all of this information that they can't possibly provide. It's just funny without context.
Yeah. Okay, well,
Millennial rage.
I guess. Oh yeah, the Junior Scrabble thing.
Yeah.
Just to fulfill our fans into this. One time when I was a boy, I got 3 sets of Junior Scrabble for Christmas.
And then the next year he was a girl.
Yeah, that why not? Let's go with that narrative. Hello, everyone. No, and I got the first one, and I was like, I'm way too old for Junior Scrabble, because I was properly like, I'm a genius prodigy child, you know. How dare you?
So that hasn't
Junior
changed
Scrabble.
then.
No.
Yeah, and then the second Junior Scrabble came out, and I was like, alright. And my dad was like, no, you have to act surprised, and you have to act like you care, and you have to say thank you because someone's still got you a present. And I was like, but it's the same present though. So I did, I feigned it, and I acted all, you know, thank you very much for giving me the same present. Obviously these people didn't know, they just didn't care enough about me to communicate with each other. You know?
Why did you...
But then comes the third. And I think I'm a better man because I held my cool and I looked and I said thank you to my auntie. And was like, thank you for the third set of Junior Scrabble. And everyone else had cool things like toy helicopters and things, and I was there with my little tower of
Scrabble.
Junior Scrabble.
Did you drive over to the nearest petrol station and thank them for the deal that they had on Junior Scrabble that day?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly the reason why you got 3 sets. They were like, we didn't know what to get for James, but this...
Oh, I really
like
thought
the
you were saying
idea.
that they had like 3 for 1.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I love the whole idea. 3 for 1, but on board games, but it's only the same board game. Like you go to a shop like that sells board games. It's like 3 for 1 on Monopoly. Like, okay, can I go for the Star Wars and maybe do like the Adventure Time?
Nope.
Same the same Monopoly. Okay, guys. So that concludes Creepypastas. I hope we all got terrified to our very cores of
I'm
those.
still shaking.
I know. I tried to add in some actual scary ones.
Does it not work?
Well, we didn't say which we thought was the scariest one.
I thought the first one.
Oh, the walking dog.
Walking dog, just because it was at least the most inventive.
Yeah,
it was inoffensive.
It's the dog for me too.
I guess. Yeah, dog.
Imagine if it could talk.
Imagine.
Mm.
You could sing!
Why? Why do you keep bringing up musicals, James? I feel like there's a repressed part of you that just wants to write musicals. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us today on The Late Shift. We'll be back in 2 weeks to tell you all the same bullshit all over again. So that will be Today in History. It will be famous facts, debatable, potentially conspiracy theories, and of course, creepypastas. Thank you so much. Have a lovely 2 weeks. Don't cry. Bye-bye.
That's all. Repress everything.
Practice your not making skills. There we go. Good advice.
Justin, you were very specific about
most
the noose.
important not.
Handy for a multitude of situations.
Bye-bye.
Please don't talk about me when I'm gone. Oh, honey, though our friendship ceases from now on. If you can't